This is the Sons of UCF, the number one place for UCF sports. With your distinguished hosts, Adam.
What was your reaction when you got notified that you were going to be a Hall of Famer? How does that sound to you? Coach O'Leary, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'm in a number of inducted into a number of Hall of Fame.
And Mike.
I don't know if you know this, but I won the 5K race that we did a couple weeks ago.
Now, here are the guys.
Yes. Sons of UCF, episode number 154. We have returned to recap all the Temple favorable items, Mike, and preview a bunch of other stuff. We'll get to all that in a second. My name is Adam, and as always, my friend and yours, back for yet another week, Mr. UCF Mike. Mike, welcome back, my friend. How are you?
Doing fantastic, man. I'm always fantastic after a win. That was a nice, relaxing win. I enjoyed it on Saturday afternoon, so doing good, feeling good.
Mike is feeling good. The show is feeling good, Mike. Let's see. What are we going to cover today? Do you want to talk a little bit about the Temple win? Should we do that?
I think that's probably priority number one.
All right. Maybe we should recap our UCF Observations. That's always a fun time. What do you think?
I've got a few nice ones lined up there.
Okay. All right. And then, I don't know, do you have any games you want to pick? Maybe give some winners out to people?
I can't promise that they're going to be winners, but yes, I have some games we can discuss.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. Cows of the week. That's always fun, right? Maybe we could do that at the end.
There's always some kind of moron out there that gave us some kind of entertainment, and yes, we can discuss that too.
Always some kind of moron. That's what you can expect here at the Sons of UCF. Again, all that's coming up here in just a minute. Do us one quick favor, though. Make sure you are following us on social media at Sons of UCF, wherever you do social media stuff. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. Don't forget to go to our website, twonightsmedia.com. Find us there. Don't forget to follow Mike at Twitter, at UCFMike1. Trace is also on Twitter at SignPez. Speaking of Trace, he joins us Thursday nights for the live show. That's Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, 8 p.m. Make sure to catch us live. Replay also shows up in your podcast feed. And if you would be so kind, Mike, we got a couple of new reviews in. I know we gave away some tickets on a review. We had a couple of reviews come. We had a 3-star review come in. That's okay. I'm not mad at you. We had a couple of reviews come in. So if you'd be so kind as maybe drop us a review on whatever platform you listen to us on, that'd be fun as well, Mike. Even if you want to give us a 3-star, I'd appreciate the 5, but I'll take the 3. It is what it is.
Yeah, we take feedback, whether it's good or bad. The guy had some criticism towards us. Maybe we'll see if we can fix a couple things up. He wants a shorter show, one guy. You are able to stop it. You don't have to listen to it all at once. Some people listen to us on the way to work, and then they continue it on the way back home. So if you want a shorter show, just listen to it in shorter segments.
Well, that just means he listened to the whole thing and was like, that should be shorter, which means we win because he listened to the whole thing. So either way, we appreciate your feedback. Again, if you want to leave us a comment or two, we'd appreciate that. A rating or two, we would love that as well, Mike. But let's get into what's going on since. So behind the curtain for everybody, we are recording this on Tuesday night. Typically, we do this on Mondays. But we decided to do Tuesday, so to speak, Mike, which gives us an opportunity to opine first, perhaps, on a couple of stories that broke today. We'll get to UCF stuff in a second. The college football playoff, their rankings were released, Mike, and I don't know. It's interesting. People are seeming to be surprised by this, but Cincinnati, who obviously is our conference mate now and our future conference mate, they are undefeated, of course, and they are ranked number 2 in the AP poll, Mike. The College Football Committee says they are now number 6. Your top 6 rankings are Georgia, Alabama, Michigan State, Oregon, and then the two outside looking in right now, Ohio State and Cincinnati at 6, Mike. I know off the air you were like, oh, no big surprise, Cincinnati got screwed again. Thoughts on Cincinnati coming in at ranking number 6 on the first release of this particular college football playoff ranking situation?
Well, I was not surprised in the least bit. I know they were ranked number 2 in the AP poll, number 2 in the coaches poll. Maybe that got them a little bit excited up there in Cincinnati. They thought they were going to come in maybe in the top 4. And, part of me thought maybe they would put them in the top 4 for this first ranking and then just have teams leap over them later, kind of just give them a bone here this week. And with College Game Day going to Cincinnati this week, it kind of made some sense. But that committee is going to committee, and they do what they do. And they put these guys at 6, making it even harder for them to crack the playoff. teams like Michigan State ahead of them. Michigan State had a very nice win against an undefeated Michigan this past week. I saw that coming. I didn't really expect them to put Oregon ahead of them, which they did so far. And then Ohio State, of course, who also has a loss. That's going to be tough. So now they're basically telling them the winner of the Big Ten's in. And I think we pretty much assume that it's going to come down to whether the SEC gets 2 teams. And if Alabama beats Georgia in the championship game, that's going to happen. It's going to be very tough for Cincinnati to crack that top 4.
Yeah.
And the committee has already made them know it early on.
Yeah, the head of the committee, the AD for Iowa, I think his name is Gary Barta, essentially said, yeah, they beat Notre Dame, who, by the way, is ranked 10 in their rankings. They beat Notre Dame, but they haven't really beaten anybody else. And their last 2 performances, which were kind of, I don't want to say they were duds, they were wins, but their wins against Navy and Tulane weren't super impressive. And so that was a legit comment. And essentially, Reese Davis from ESPN was like, well, they don't have anybody really, of note left. And he was like, yeah, we don't look ahead. We're just looking at where we are right now. But obviously that's the challenge. That Cincinnati has no teams left on their schedule that's going to be impressive. And yet they're surrounded by things that could happen. So Georgia, Alabama, assuming they both win out, they'll play each other in the SEC championship game. I'm not so convinced that a 2-loss Alabama still doesn't sneak into the playoff, even if they lose to Georgia again. But we'll see. That would essentially probably make them a 4 seed, which would make a rematch. I don't know if they'll do that. To your point, one of the Big Ten schools will get in there, Michigan State or Ohio State. Oregon wins out, they're going to be in. And then behind Cincinnati, you have an undefeated Oklahoma, who is at 8, and an undefeated Wake Forest, who is at 9, representing the Big 12 and ACC, respectively. If either of those 2 teams win out, I got a feeling they both also leapfrog Cincinnati as well. So Cincinnati definitely has a hard road. They need just a whole bunch of chaos. They need a whole bunch of upsets, and maybe they break their way in there, Mike. I don't know if, it's interesting is Cincinnati fans haven't necessarily been the most gracious to UCF folks on Twitter and over these past couple of years, but now there's a lot of see what we've been telling you stuff going on right now, and I think as much as it sucks, I mean this is what we knew was going to happen, and I guess because of the number 2 ranking, there was a glimmer of hope, but the committee, to your point, they weren't even opening the door. They were like, nah, we're good. You don't even need to be here. We're good. They didn't even throw them a bone. They were just like, sorry, and I think that's a loud and clear message about the group of 5 and whatever that meaning will be going forward. Obviously, what that means for how the committee thinks about them going to the playoff.
Yep, and the rest of their schedule is not doing them any favors. They get Memphis this week. They get SMU in a few weeks, but if we beat SMU the week before they play them, SMU is not going to be ranked anymore either. Their only hope is that Houston continues to win out, which they should with their schedule, and be a top 15 team. Maybe that helps them, but that's championship week. That's the same week that Ohio State is going to be beating, or Michigan State's going to be beating a top-ranked Iowa team or something like that. And ACC, Wake Forest is going to finish an undefeated season, and Oklahoma's undefeated. So that's going to be very tough for Cincinnati. It's not looking good for them. They would have had to start at number 2 or 3 in this thing, I think, to have a fair shake, and it doesn't appear they're going to get one.
Yeah, plus you need behind them, obviously, it was Oklahoma. Oklahoma still plays Oklahoma State, who is who's ranked behind them. Baylor, I believe, who's ranked behind them. So if they end up beating a Oklahoma State, who I think is 11, and a Baylor who's 12 or something along those lines, then there's no way they're going to keep them out over a Cincinnati team that just beat Houston, right? So I think not only do they have to look at what's in front of them, but I think the teams that are behind them are just as telling, unfortunately, on what Cincinnati's I guess options or opportunities or realistic expectations should be. But Cincinnati on the outside looking in, Mike, which probably isn't too much of a surprise. We'll keep an eye on these rankings. Obviously, they're known to change from week to week. Obviously, unfortunately, UCF not listed in any of these conversations, Mike. But one interesting note today, Cincinnati, while we're on that topic, they lost a recruit, somebody decommitted, Mike, which now means that your UCF Knights have the number 1 ranked recruiting class in the AAC for this next season, Mike. So UCF were number 1 in recruiting, at least for today. What do you think?
Gus came in with his hair on fire, and he's not stopping yet. I love it. I hope he keeps this momentum going now, and I'm sure he will. He's beating out teams like Florida, Miami, South Carolina. Now we've jumped ahead of Cincinnati. He's come in and done exactly what he said he was going to do in recruiting. The guy is a great recruiter. And now once he gets his players in here and to fit his system, I think this program really is going to take off with the Big 12 label on it. There's no stopping the Gus bus. I love it.
Number 37th nationally, Cincinnati now number 38. We are just behind Purdue at this point, percentage points behind Purdue. So UCF definitely making the climb. I think you said this on a previous show. There's still some big fish out there that UCF is going after. Obviously, they have to hold on to who they have, but still some big fish out there that UCF's talking to. Obviously, we still have a couple of, 7 weeks or so, I guess, until signing day. So we have early signing day at least. So we do have some time here, Mike, but definitely Gus is coming in, and he's made an impact already. Number 1 recruiting class in the American Conference. I don't know, when's the last time we had that? I don't even know if we had one of those under Frost or Heupel that I can recall.
I'm not sure. I know Cincinnati, I believe, has been in the lead the last couple of years. Usually SMU sometimes has a big one. Houston had a few nice recruiting classes back then when they had Ed Oliver. They had a 5-star, something we haven't done yet. Maybe that's something Gus can cross off the list here soon. I can't remember the last time we were leaders in the conference. And I mean, I don't follow it as closely as some of these other guys, so maybe it hasn't been that long ago. Probably 2012 or 13. Whenever, one of those years when O'Leary, maybe it was 2010, O'Leary had a very strong class. I think that was the highest ranked class we've ever had, where we finished, I believe, in the top 40.
2010, you're right. We were ranked number 1 in the AAC. We were number 50, though, was our national ranking.
All right. So, and that was the Jeff Godfrey class? Is that considered that class? His freshman year was 2010.
Josh Reese, Torian Wilson, Jeff Godfrey, Blake Bortles, Jordan Akins, the McCrays, Justin Tukes in there, Jordan Ozerites, EJ Dunstan, Clayton Geathers. That's a good class. Wow.
That's a very good class.
Yeah.
Excellent class.
Yeah, that's
probably even turned out to be better than what they were ranked on signing day. You just went through the names. Bortles and Godfrey and Dunstan and McCrays. I think J.J. Wharton was in the same class. So excellent recruiting class.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while. I'm going through. That's the last time I can see as ranked in the AAC. Although we weren't in the AAC then, so I'm not sure if they rebalanced these or not. Even under the Frost 2018, obviously that was Heupel. So that was number 2. So either way, good news. Gus comes in and he's definitely committed to the recruiting, and there's still some hot names out there, like we said. So there's an option that maybe we pick up a couple more guys here and there. Actually, let me take that back. We were number 1 in 2017 as well in the AAC, 55 overall. Cordarian Richardson, Bentavious Thompson, Marlon Williams, Otis Anderson, Daryl Mack, Antoine Collier, Sam Jackson, Kalia Davis, Gabe Davis, Cole Schneider, Mike Hughes, also a transfer in. So that was a good class too.
Yes, 2017, we saw what happened in that season. So look what happened. 2010 was a very good year. 2017 was the best season ever. And now here we are coming into it's going to turn out to be our best recruiting class ever leading into 2022. Only good things for next season.
Well, a lot will depend on injuries, Mike, as well. So a quick update on the injury front. So Jalen Robinson, who there had been some potential speculation, maybe he's on the field against Temple, did not play. I think I saw Jason Beatty from the Orlando Sentinel report. He did not even travel. So Jay Flash not there. We saw Matt Lee come out in the second half. Gus only said in his presser on Monday that he was a little banged up. He's a tough kid. He hopes he can play. So not quite sure the extent of that injury for him. We obviously saw Ricky Barber out there in full force. We saw Isaiah Bowser was back out there in full force. JJB went down with maybe a sting or some sort of a shoulder neck injury. We didn't get much more updates on him, so not sure what his status is for this upcoming week, Mike. And then there's Dylan Gabriel, who there are speculations. He's posting videos on his Instagram of old throws that he's making. He seems to be walking and moving around without much of a sling. I know you had some inside info from a colleague or friend of ours who had said essentially at one point that this injury was maybe a 6-week deal, and this would be sort of a target date to come back. Gus kind of hinted in the presser this week that he should have more specifics soon, Mike. So Dylan Gabriel's still kind of status unknown. Where are you at with what do you want to see out of Dylan? If he's ready to play against Tulane this week, or would you want to play him?
Yeah, if he's ready to go, I'd definitely play him. But I don't see him as being ready. We haven't seen him throw a pass. I know he's putting these videos out from before the season even started. So I need to start seeing him throw passes this week. If he's not practicing throwing things around today and tomorrow and Thursday, I don't think there's any chance he's playing against Tulane.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be great to have him back. We'd love to get him out there early, even if it's just for a quarter or a half, and get his feet wet again, get running around, see what it's like to get hit again, and see how his shoulder holds up.
Yeah.
Because there's the big game the week after against SMU, and if he doesn't play this week and he's ready to go next week against SMU, you still put him in there, even whether he got his feet wet or not. I mean, the guy has played before, so
yeah.
It's just a better situation to get him playing this week. But if not, you just roll with it. But I need to see it. He has to practice. I can't imagine Gus is just going to put him out there on Friday, let him throw it a couple times, and then play in the game Saturday.
Yeah. Well, obviously, we don't get a chance to see practices, so we won't necessarily know if he's out there throwing or not, what the situation looks like. So we may be, all kind of in the dark up until game time in terms of what that looks like. But you're right. I mean, if I'm Gus, I look at this Tulane team, and we'll talk about them later on. But obviously, they are struggling this year. So you maybe look at this and say, hey, we can win this game with who we have, and then let's kind of get all of our horses back in the stable. No pun intended, or maybe pun intended. I don't know. For the ponies coming up a week from Saturday. So maybe that's his plan overall, Mike. Try to hold him back and get him out there fresh for SMU. I guess that's not the worst idea.
No, that could work too. So that's going to be a big game, because if you look at the schedule, that's the one tough remaining game. The other 3 games are at home against teams with horrible records. Tulane's won 1 game. UConn's won a game, I believe, right? And the Cows have won 2. So, I mean, these are not good teams on the schedule. SMU is the only formidable opponent on the road, a ranked team. That would be a big game on this schedule and get us in a spot where we can finish this season with 9 or 10 wins if you count the bowl game.
Yeah. Time updates, too, by the way. The SMU game is announced for a 12 p.m. Eastern kick, so high noon, 11 a.m. local time for the Knights to kick off. That's a bit of a bummer. UConn, the following Saturday, is a 4 p.m. kick. And obviously the Cows game, probably 3:30 or 7, not announced yet. Obviously this week against Tulane, a 4 p.m. kick. So the rest of the schedule is starting to settle in for UCF out there. So everybody out there can make your plans on where you're going to go, when you're going to go, and what games you're going to get out to, Mike. But let's quickly pivot back to last Saturday. UCF 49, Temple 7. It was a pretty resounding win, Mike, from start to finish. What did you like most about what you saw? What grabbed your attention as you watched the game?
Just the all-around performance of this team. Offense, defense, they did it all. Dominated this entire game. Never in doubt, up early. Really put them away in the third quarter and got other guys into the game. Let Joey Gatewood just run the ball there for the fourth quarter. Get Mikey Keene out. That's something we haven't been able to do all year. Just build up a big lead and get some guys some playing time. Overall, there's nothing to complain about in this game. Everything went pretty much perfectly to plan. So I loved it. It was a nice, relaxing Saturday. We haven't had one of those in a while. Even the Memphis game, we were in control, but it was a 1-score game, 2-score game in the second half. There was always a chance something bad could happen, as we've seen already this season with Navy. So this was a nice, comforting game. You were able to do things around the house, watch the game, and kind of just chill out on a Saturday.
Yeah, it was a perfect get-right game where things hadn't been sort of really going UCF's way. To your point, we eked out a win against ECU. We did okay against Memphis, came out with the win with some late defense. And this was kind of a never in doubt. And that's a huge thing, in my opinion, because now it allows UCF to maybe peak at the right time. Some guys got some playing time, got some confidence. Obviously, Mikey Keene's confidence meter has got to be through the roof. We saw Bowser play really well. O'Keefe had some big plays. Johnny played pretty well. The defense obviously stepped up, and a lot of guys had some contributions there. So one of those games that sort of cures all ills. And I think that's the best thing. Going on the road, getting that road monkey off your back, no pun intended to Texas. And like I told you, Mike, UCF undefeated on the grass. I told you, natural grass is going to be UCF surface. And so either way, it was just a good get-right game. It gives some guys some opportunities to get in late and play as well. And I think overall, the confidence meter points to the roof. And I got to hand it to the defense. Back-to-back games, Mike, only allowing 7 points. And even this 7 points was really a garbage time TD. There's 20 seconds or so on the clock. So back-to-back games with only 7 points allowed. That's pretty impressive, man. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, the best performance that we've seen out of the defense all year. That 7 at the end did kind of piss me off, though. We were so close to the shutout.
Yeah.
So close. The drive before, when the kid misses the field goal, when they're kicking a field goal down 49 points just to get on the board.
Yeah.
And he missed it, and I was happy about it. I'm like, good, let's get the shutout. This is good for the defense. And they give one up with, like 28 seconds left in the game. Yeah, that one kind of hurt. And I think there was a missed tackle there. I think we get that guy down at the 10-yard line. Maybe you only have to stop him for one or maybe two more plays.
Yeah, obviously Temple didn't seem like they really, once we pushed on them a little bit, seems like they were kind of done. Obviously, we talked to their insider on our live show Thursday, and he basically said, hey, this team is kind of teetering right now. Prior to the game, you heard that they weren't playing two of their better defensive players, so you had a suspicion early on that this maybe go this way. And that's what I guess for me was most exciting, is that looking at everything objectively, how Temple has played, having guys out, leading guys, their offense kind of missing some pieces here and there, not being consistent. This was a game where you want to see a 49-7 result, and you were just wondering, could UCF actually make that happen, or were they going to mess around and make this a 24-14 game late? Or with everything that points in the direction that we could win this game handily, were we going to show up and make the plays necessary? And I think that's the most exciting thing about it, is we didn't see this against a Navy team that we thought we could push around. We didn't really even see this against an ECU team that we thought we might be better than. We kind of saw it against Memphis a little bit, but we didn't see it when we wanted to earlier. But this time around, where we're like, hey, we should win this game handily, they actually came through and did what we needed to do. I think that's probably the biggest takeaway I had from the game.
And to do it in an empty stadium where there is no environment going on, you have to be extra focused in a game like that. Gus has talked about how in the East Carolina game and the Memphis game, the crowd has willed us to win. In games maybe where we needed that extra push, didn't need that this week in Temple. They probably around 3,000 people there, and probably a few hundred of those were night fans. Just a pathetic showing by their fan base and that crowd, which they never fill up that stadium anyway. But to go into an empty place like that, it's like back into the COVID year where there's no fans allowed in the stands. You got to be on top of everything. You can't just sleepwalk through a game like that, which easily could have happened. Like you said, they could have, had a couple mistakes here and there, and before you know it, you're in the third quarter only up by 7, and then you're in trouble. So they were able to take care of business when they needed to.
Yeah, particularly late. I mean, it was 21-0 at half, essentially, right? And you say, okay, we have this pretty handily, but obviously, they could have coughed it up, and they went out in the third quarter, Mike, and really put the pedal to the metal, scored 3 more times in that third, and I think that really set the tone, Mike. The announced attendance, according to the official scoring report here, 19,000. Are you saying the Cows guy counted everybody there?
They were counting limbs, arms, and legs, so if each person counts as 4, maybe. There was no way it was 19,000. Impossible. The
official stats on the internet, Mike. The internet cannot lie to you. That is a fact, Mike. Let's go through our categories then. We'll obviously each week Mike and I break down the game. We give you 3 things that we liked, and we categorize them by previous bowl appearances from UCF. So we have our good categories. That's Peach and Liberty. And we have our bad categories. That's Hawaii and now Boca. So we will highlight something or someone and tell you how we felt about what we saw, Mike. Let's lead off with your first selection, your game category. What are you going to do?
A peach for Mr. Mikey Keene.
Michael.
King Kong.
No, this is back.
King Kong is back, baby. 15 for 21 today on that day. 229 yards. 5. Count them. 5 touchdown passes. First freshman quarterback to ever throw for 5 touchdowns in one game. Not Dante, not Schneider, not Godfrey, not Bortles, not Gabriel, not Milton. None of them. But King Kong came in and did it. And did it pretty efficiently and looked good doing it. And you mentioned that third quarter. In that third quarter, he was 6 for 6, 133 yards with the 3 touchdowns to put the game away. A touchdown to a wide open Alec Holler. 2 to Ryan O'Keefe. Makes the score 42-0. Take the fourth quarter off, kid. Great job. Very nice game out of him. I loved watching Mikey sling the ball around on Saturday afternoon.
Probably should have been 16 of 21 because he hit Ryan O'Keefe dead in the hands, and there was a drop there. That actually could have been his 6th touchdown. I don't know if we scored a touchdown on that drive or not, but that was Okay.
That's what. Yeah.
So I mean,
it would have been 5.
yeah. So, but it could have been 16 of 21 because again, he had O'Keefe in stride. He had a couple of moments, Mike, where he seems to want to throw into double and triple coverage at times, which didn't bite us too much against Temple, but certainly something that I think you want to look at. But he looked like he had much more command of the offense, and I think the question all Knights fans are left kind of asking themselves is, why did we see this version of Mikey Keene, the one that's throwing the ball downfield, the one that is able to sort of execute in the passing game? Why did this Mikey Keene show up against Temple? Where was he in the previous games? Was it something schematically we think Gus saw in the film against Temple and said, hey, we can beat these guys through the air? Was it just simply, he decided, hey, Mikey's, this is make it or break it time for Mikey. I got to see what I got here. What do you think kind of turned that we saw a conservative Gus Malzahn against ECU and a conservative passing game against Memphis to we were freaking, Dylan Gabriel, Milton, Mackenzie Milton shades against Temple? What do you think changed that made that take place?
Well, it's not like he was throwing bombs all night either. He only threw for 229 yards on the 15 completions. So he was still kind of conservative with it, but the 5 touchdowns makes it seem like he's throwing the ball all over the yard. It could just be the way Temple was playing us. I mean, Temple had given up 420 yards the week before on the ground to the Cows. So maybe they were making a conscious effort to stuff the run, which allowed things to open up, which allowed the tight end, Holler, to get open over the middle a few times. That could have had something to do with it. I don't know the exact answer. You're going to have to give me one of these guys that breaks down the film. But you knew it was Keene's day. When he throws an interception, that was a bad throw. Worst play of the game. And it still turns into a first down, right? The guy fumbles and we recover anyway. Turns out to be like a 40-yard gain on the play. So I saw somebody make that meme with his face on the most interesting man in the world. I don't always throw interceptions, but when I do, they're for first downs. So that's his day when something like that happens.
Yeah,
he could do no wrong.
Yeah, it was a good performance. Again, it's probably something we've been hoping or wondering if we would see at some point, and I think we'd all thought that he had this potential, and either it was great play calling. I think Gus did a better job, in my opinion, a couple times, I think, of calling better plays or maybe better executed plays and letting Mikey make easy reads. I mean, the touchdown to Holler, both of them, frankly, were pretty easy reads. He had a really good 4th down throw to Nate Craig Myers. That was a pretty decent high-low read. So I think Gus put him in some better positions, but maybe he just had more confidence as the game went on. Maybe he was seeing things better, and that's what you love to see, right? The maturation of a young quarterback. And then here's the problem with us at UCF, man. We've been spoiled with really good freshman quarterbacks. I mean, it's pretty much been what we've done over the better part of the past 10, 15 years. So, when you see a guy come in and he's not exactly lighting the world on fire like everybody else, we're all like, oh, what's wrong with this guy? But it's kind of fun to see these young kids kind of mature in front of your eyes. And for nothing else outside the performance, it was great to see Mikey have some confidence, to smile, have some fun out there, and to really kind of see him take that next step. Hopefully he can maintain it for however long he's playing for the rest of this year. But it was fun to see him take that step.
Yeah, and it takes a while for these guys to get going. Look at Milton. His freshman year, we saw glimpses, and a lot of it had to do with him making plays with his feet. But throwing the ball, he was not the most accurate passer his freshman year. We saw what he turned into his sophomore year. Gabriel, he did have that touch from the very beginning. The Stanford game, he looked great, but then he had his moments, obviously, with the Pitt and Cincinnati in 2019. Mikey had a tough matchup early on with Cincinnati. Didn't have a good game, but here he goes. Maybe he's going to catch on fire here. He had 5 touchdowns coming into this game, and then he threw 5 more on Saturday to double it up. So let's see where he goes from here. This is a good building block for him.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how much time he gets left, right? If Dylan's ready to come back, when is that? Is that this week against Tulane? Is it against SMU? So we'll see how much time Mikey has left and if he can build on that too. But definitely a good performance. Good to see him, Mike. I'm going to go maybe a little bit off the board, maybe not someplace people would expect, Mike. I'm going to give out a peach to Johnny Richardson. And this may be a little bit of a season achievement award as much as a game performance award, because his stats were pretty impressive, although not eye-popping. Obviously, he played a little bit more in the garbage time side of the game, but 8 carries for 42 yards. He had that late touchdown. He probably got in the play before that, but ruled him down. He gets in on the next play for his rushing touchdown. Mike, kickoff returns. He got really close, man. He got a 36-yarder, ended up getting tackled from behind, but he made a couple of nice moves. I thought the crew at ESPN Plus did a great job of kind of showing how he caught the ball, waited a little bit, set his blockers up, then turned on the speed a little bit. If he can get through that hole just a tad quicker, maybe that one breaks. But I think he's had a couple of those this year where you see him sort of make some moves and you think that maybe he's going to be able to break this one. Like I hope things are trending in the direction that he can break one before the year comes to an end. And then you mentioned it earlier, but he was the one who forced the fumble. So Mikey Keene throws a bad interception, and Johnny chases down. He's credited with the forced fumble that was recovered by Brandon Johnson, which then turned into a Brandon Johnson TD just a few plays later. So a hustle play to get down to jar the ball loose and get UCF a possession back. Again, not the most eye-popping stats, Mike, but he's second on the team for the season in rushing with 406 yards, just behind Bowser. Obviously, he had to step in and sort of take the carries when Bowser was out. So, well, again, nothing that jumps out here that says, oh, my God, this guy's the best player UCF's ever seen. He had a really solid game, and I think he's been really solid throughout the year. Frankly, he's got more self-tackles than probably tackles this year because he's tripped and fallen so many times, Mike. But I think he did a lot of intangibles this game. Really excited if he can bring one in the return game. So I'm going to give Johnny a peach for his performance against Temple.
He's been a guy on those kick returns that we've been waiting for, and he looks like he's going to break one soon. I've been waiting for it all year. Even last year, he looked like he was going to be able to do it. I think it's coming. And you're right. The forced fumble, that's just a hustle play, sticking with the play, getting down there and trying to make the tackle, and then something good really happens out of it. Good for him. He's worked hard all year. He's earned his playing time. I'm glad to see him get it. Him and Bowser, I think, is a very good combination together. And hopefully those two can stay healthy and finish this year. And he's got a shot. Look, we got games here coming up where we can start padding some stats. Mm-hmm. And he can have a couple 100-yard games here. You never know. He can get close. What does he have right now? 406? Almost 500 yards?
Yeah.
He can get over 800 yards. And if he has a big game in there somewhere where he busts a long run, you never know. You can get close to 1,000 yards.
And UCF's tried to use him in the passing game. He had, I think, a drop against ECU, but then there was another, I think he had a catch against Memphis kind of in the same sort of wheel route. So he's used a bit in the passing game. And again, I think to your point, he can be an effective runner in the right spots. So I definitely think that, he's got the potential to continue on and build on the season, Mike. But just overall, I think he did a lot of little things. The stats aren't going to jump out at you, but I'm going to give Johnny a peach for his Temple performance. Mike, you're up next. What's your second?
All right, got another peach here for the defense. Overall defense. We talked about it after the East Carolina game that was their best defensive performance. And then the Memphis game was probably their next new best defensive performance. And now this week, for sure, is the new best defensive performance of the season. They did it from the beginning of the game all the way to the end, almost to the end. The fourth down stop on the very first possession with the Hodges sack. They forced a couple turnovers with a couple fumbles in there. 4 sacks, 7 tackles for loss. The secondary, you can see, playing with a lot more confidence now. And then the guys up front, the guys that we talked about all year that were supposed to be getting pressure, are getting pressure now. They're getting to the quarterback. Morris Brash, Big Cat, Saliskar, Ricky Barber, all in there wreaking havoc on the offense. This is now 3 of the last 4 games where the defense has really stepped up and carried this team. I mean, the offense did their job this week, but in the games against East Carolina and Memphis, when the offense was kind of sputtering, the defense put the team on their back. And now this week, shut Temple down. And I just mentioned the weak opponents coming up on the schedule: Tulane, UConn, and the Cows. They got a chance to really start padding some stats on the defensive side. They held Temple scoreless for 59 minutes and 32 seconds in this game. I really wish they could have finished it off and gotten that shutout. But I guess that just leaves us with one more thing now that we have to check off on one of these future games. Look at the UConn game, and how sweet would it be if we can get a shutout against the Cows?
Good Lord, yes.
That would be fantastic. So something to shoot for still to finish the job. And I'm sure T will, and he's going to be in their ear about that last touchdown.
Yeah, I said this on Eric Lopez and Andrew Glukov were nice enough to have me on night shift after the game. And I said this on that show, and I didn't really mean it as criticism. I don't know if it came across that way, but the defense has really sort of solidified since Eric Gilliard left. And I'm not saying it was his fault per se, but if you remember, he opted out and essentially announced transfer after the Navy game. Then we went and played Cincinnati, and obviously we know what happened there. That just didn't turn out in our favor. But since then, to your point, the defense has definitely played better. And I think some of the reason is because guys are now getting back into the natural positions. Bryson Armstrong was playing that like hybrid secondary / linebacker role early in the year. He was getting just toasted on coverages left and right. And then, he comes back in the linebacker. Now you're rotating 4 guys. We had Montalvo, not that he really plays a role in the linebacking core, but he was playing DN for a while. I think even the secondary, we were rotating. Domio starts a game. Adams starts a game. Thornton starts games. Now it feels like with Gilliard's departure, guys are settling in more into their roles. Now you're seeing Armstrong back at his linebacker spot, which opens up a spot for Justin Hodges to play in that sort of hybrid role. You're seeing Brandon Adams take over at corner on the one side, Devontae Brown on the other. Obviously, we know we have Devad Wilson and Quadric Bullard back there who have both played okay. I think Bullard's probably played a little bit better, at least statistically, than Wilson has. But I think that departure has really allowed the defense to settle down and get more consistent. It also helps to get some injured guys back and get some guys like TMB from suspension. But I'm not blaming Eric Gilliard, Mike, but it feels like things have fallen into place since he left the team.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. And the other way is to say that the guys are coming back. Guys like Ricky Barber, him being out was a big miss for us. Just like we're missing Khalil Davis. Imagine if he was still around, how much chaos would be in the backfield right now. But these guys are looking good. The secondary, are they being helped by the guys up front getting pressure, or are the guys getting pressure up front because the secondary is covering better?
Yeah,
I think it goes both ways. So, and also Temple, let's just be honest, sucks.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But I've seen plenty of crappy teams go out there and put up numbers and get on and put up points, even if they're meaningless points. And these guys shut them down. They did what they needed to do, and you got to give them credit for it.
Well, I'm going to say this now. We're going to get torched against Tulane because of this, right? But it seems like at least the secondary has really settled in. It feels like there was a bit of a rotation, and maybe we didn't know exactly who our guys were back there. I know Thornton was out for at least a game with concussion, and I think Hodges was injured for a little bit of time. So I feel like the secondary is really solidified. Brandon Adams on the one side, true freshman, Devontae Brown on the other side, and then again rotating Thornton, rotating Domio, Hodges, and then obviously from the safety standpoint, getting Devad Wilson back there, and then Quadric Bullard. I feel like that group's also really kind of gelled and matured a little bit. We knew they were young coming into the season. It feels like they've made some really nice plays. So perhaps T. Will and that team have finally found the right mix, at least on who should be back there. To your point, with injuries coming off the books, maybe this is just the perfect time for the defense to really start to pull it together.
Yep, and against Memphis, we played against a backup quarterback. This week, the Temple quarterback didn't do much. Now going into Tulane, Michael Pratt was hurt last week. Didn't even play against Cincinnati. I don't know if he's going to be ready to come back. He hasn't been as good as we thought he was going to be. But he can throw the ball around. We saw him last year. He's not a bad passer, but he is more of a traditional guy. He's not somebody that's really going to kill you with his legs. So that plays well into our defense. We know the troubles we had with running quarterbacks. When we play against more traditional passers, I think it's best for us and should be able to pin our ears back against Michael Pratt or whoever is playing quarterback for Tulane and have another strong defensive performance.
Yeah, Gus said in the presser on Monday he was expecting Pratt to play. He was in concussion protocol, so obviously those are always kind of scary, unpredictable, kind of where he'll be at. But he played well. I remember when he played us at home. He played really well, and he was definitely somebody who we were like, ooh, this kid's got some game. I think he's from Boca, if I remember correctly. So if he's right, we hopefully we'll get a good a good read on how he's playing early on, and T-Will and the guys can scheme him up. But definitely will be a bit of a challenge coming into the week if he can play. I'm sure we'll have more info on that on Thursday when we do our live show. Hopefully we'll know more about his status and where we are from there, Mike. I'm going to go to my second category as well. I'm going to also give out another peach. And this one is going to go to our main man, Mr. Alec, not Alex, Alec Holler, who broke out of the witness protection program, somehow found his way back on the field, and made 6 catches, 72 yards, and 2 touchdowns, Mike. He also included in those 6 catches were a Tyreek Hill-esque tiptoe down the sideline to get us a really big third down conversion when it looked like he was going to go out of bounds with momentum. Kind of stopped a little bit, did a little shimmy there, got a couple feet in and dove for the first down, Mike. He's a guy that we talked about tight ends for the last couple of weeks. Where are they? We're not using them. They weren't even really on the field. No one was getting the ball thrown to them. I think I had theorized maybe Gus lost some confidence in these guys, and I don't know if Gus heard me and just wanted to prove something wrong. But again, 6 catches for Alec Holler, 72 yards, Mike. And again, one of those things where you say to yourself, where has this been? Because it was a really big part of the offensive system. The middle of the field was wide open. It probably opened up some other things for Mikey and Gus to call down the road as well. And obviously, we know Alec had a couple of tough drops against Navy. Maybe that got him in the doghouse. But if it did, he worked his way out, Mike, and I am really excited about this element. If we can add a tight end into the mix, give Mikey and or Dylan another target out there, somebody we can go to, this will be huge. But for this game in particular, Alec Holler gets a peach.
Fantastic game at Holler. We've been waiting for the tight ends to do something like this all season. We know that Gus likes to utilize tight ends. In his time at Auburn, we've seen him do it, so we were expecting it this year. Hasn't really happened. Holler had the touchdown early in the first game of the year, right? Against Boise State. Yep. He had a nice play. And we were waiting ever since then for something like this to happen. And he broke out this week. Yards after the catch is big. He had 38 of those. 38 of his 87 yards receiving after the catch. So able to do something there with his feet. And he showed his nimbleness there on the sidelines. That was a great play he made. I thought for sure he was going to catch it and fall out of bounds. Able to keep his balance, get in there and get the first down. I believe that was a third down play.
It was, yep.
So very, very nice game out of him. The wide open touchdown for 33 yards over the middle. You can't drop that thing.
You could.
That was an easy pitch and catch. Yeah. I think actually we've seen Kalubiali drop one like that, right? Before he caught his first touchdown pass years ago.
Yeah.
So, but good for him. And now the joke that we've had every week with Trace always bringing it up. What was the over-under on the tight end catches? Well, here we go. Maybe we're onto something here. We still got a few games to play.
Yeah.
It's possible. We're back in it now
to
get over 25 tight end catches.
Alec Holler, 13 on the year, 158, 3 touchdowns. Those 13 represent the only 13 catches by a tight end. So with some time left, he's going to need to put another 13 on the board here in the next, 4 games, Mike. Not impossible. But certainly he has his work cut out for him. But look, again, you said it earlier, Gus loves a tight end, right? In his time at Auburn, he always had like a Lutzenkircher laying around catching balls over the middle, and we wondered where that had been at UCF. And maybe this is his way of bringing it back. Maybe, again, did he see something in Temple? Did the film, reveal that play would be available? Will we not see this again? Who knows with Gus? I think that's the one thing that's probably been the most head scratching is understanding his play sheet from week to week, understanding his rotations from week to week has always been a bit muddy, I suppose. But it feels like he's always had a tight end in his system, and maybe Holler can now prove or showed him, hey, I'm capable, coach, of being that guy for you.
Yeah, where have you gone, Jake Hescock? There's a guy that we were accustomed to seeing getting some catches and some, especially in the red zone, wide open. He's a big target. Holler has wrestled that position away from him. We saw Browder get in there the week before and almost reel in a touchdown pass, which would have been a very nice catch. So this is Holler's opportunity now to really solidify himself as tight end number 1 here.
Yeah.
He did it for this week. Now he needs to keep it going. Otherwise, I don't see Gus being afraid to put somebody like Charlie Browder in there and see what he's got too.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hescock is just now relegated to blocking duty. Again, he didn't have a target listed. Holler is listed as the starter. Mike Garbage time, we saw Browder get in. We saw Jordan Davis, Gabe Davis's younger brother, get in as well. So obviously, Gus has got some young tight ends there. We'll see what that comes to fruition. But for this week, Alec Holler, we will celebrate him and give him a peach. Mike, your last category goes to who?
All right, I'll make this one a liberty. It was close to being a peach, but the red zone offense, 5 for 6 in the red zone, scoring touchdowns 5 times. The only reason it's a liberty is because we had a fumble there at the 2-yard line on a quarterback center exchange. Cannot happen. Now, that was after Matt Lee was out of the game, I believe, right?
Yes. Yep.
So was it Schneider there at center?
Yes.
We don't go under center very often, and I hate when teams are in the shotgun there at the goal line. I like that we were up under center. I like that we were running something quick. Torchy used to always tell us at the goal line, what do we do? Quick stuff. Get in there, snap it, and hand it off, get in the end zone. I like the call, but you got to convert that snap right to the quarterback. You can't be fumbling things like that. So red zone offense has been a bright spot all season long. We've been very good in the red zone, something that we struggled with the last couple of years under Heupel. If we didn't score from deep, we were having a hard time once we got into the red zone. So I like what Gus is doing there inside the 20. If you want to throw in the same category, 3rd down conversions, 4th down conversions, we were 1 out of 2 on 4th down. That's 50%. You'll sign up for that. And 6 for 11 on 3rd downs, which was an improvement over the last few weeks. So that whole category, to me, gets a liberty only because of the one fumble. Otherwise, it would have been another peach.
Yeah, that fumble really pissed me off because if I have this drive correct in my head, and I think that I do, I'm looking at it on the play sheet here. I believe Joey Gatewood was in for those first 2 plays because they were Bowser runs, a 3-yard and then a 1-yard. And then for some reason, we brought Mikey Keene in. To your point, I think we started him in the shotgun. Then he ran up under center, and then he fumbled it. Another. I don't even understand why. Another decision by Gus to do this whole in between the series swaps, or rather in between the plays swaps with the quarterbacks. Gatewood was already in. He's a bigger quarterback. He's a bigger guy. At least opened up an option for the defense to go, hey, is this guy going to keep it? Is he going to dive over? Is he going to hand it off? But we bring in Mikey Keene. I don't want to say cold, right, because he's been playing all game, right? But we bring Keene in, and that's how the fumble happens. If I have that series correct, which just continues to just drive me crazy.
Yeah, and you think Gatewood is built for those goal line situations. That's why we have him. I'm just waiting for the one old trying to run up, fake the run up, and then the stop and the jump pass. It's something we haven't seen yet. Something like a Tim Tebow play used to run over in Florida. I'm waiting for Gatewood to run one of those. But you're right. I just power it in there against these guys, and maybe that's what that play was going to be. We'll never know. But you got to handle that snap exchange. I know Schneider's not the regular center. I guess who's that on? Is it on the center? Is it on the quarterback? I think most of the time that's on the quarterback, right? Probably just coming out trying to be a little too quick with it.
Yeah.
We're not used to running snaps like that. So that's got to be practiced more.
Well, and I will give some credit to the defense and the offense. After that, Temple got a quick first down. Then they a big sack by Traymon Morris-Brash. And that was the Traymon Morris-Brash series where you're like, man, if this guy can put it all together. He had a sack. He had a batted ball. I think he had a tackle in that series as well. They punt the ball right back to us, and then 2 plays later, 46-yard pass to Ryan O'Keefe. So, they made good on that one, Mike, on the mistakes. So I'll give them some credit on that. But we just got to figure out this Gatewood Keene thing for however long it's in our life.
Yeah, and it's been a few games now. Mikey's started 4 games, 5 games now. So it's been an adjustment that Gus was not expecting coming into the season. Probably if you had drawn up the game plan coming into the season, neither one of these guys would have played at all. Right? We would have had Dylan Gabriel start and play every game. So something that's still a work in progress. And Gus is trying to figure out the best situations to bring this guy in and out. On a 49-0 game, you really can't argue with it too much. I mean, if you want to try some new things here and there, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But in a tight game, bringing him in on 3rd down, bringing Gatewood in and taking him out on 3rd downs is not ideal for me.
All right, my last category, Mike. I'm going to go with a Liberty as well, and this is a little bit of a make do, maybe a make nice. I'm going to go Big Cat Bryant for a Liberty, Mike. I know we've kind of both been wondering aloud, what kind of player Big Cat was. We'd seen some good things, and we saw some mental gaffes on third downs and a couple of missed tackles here and there. I think maybe that the hype of Big Cat coming in was too great, and we all expected him to dominate every play. And then when he doesn't do that, we all kind of gave him a hard time over it. We struggled obviously getting the quarterback early on, Mike, but in this game, Big Cat 3 tackles, 1.5 sacks. And both those sacks were on back-to-back plays, and that helped to end the first half, Mike, which, again, Temple, I think, was hoping to maybe make a run there at the end. If you look up now, he's got 4.5 sacks on the year. He's the team leader in that. He has 8 tackles for loss. I know some teams seem like they're scheming up to run away from Big Cat. For all the other guys who've been injured, Mike, and I don't want to jinx this, but I mean, it seems like Big Cat is pretty much playing every play of every game. He's been durable. He's been out there throughout all the injuries on the defense. He's been the one guy out there. And even if you look at his play count numbers from Pro Football Focus, he doesn't even really come out that much. I mean, he's typically, playing every player, or at least, maybe taking off 1 or 2 a game. He's been on the field. He's been reliable. The best ability is availability. He's been there. I think he's coming on now a little bit. He's getting some help around him with Ricky Barber back. Trayvon Morris brashed up in a little bit. Defense in the secondary getting better. So I'm going to give a little liberty to our guy, Big Cat. I think we've been a little bit rough on him at times, but he had a really good game. And I think maybe this is just the start of the season. This is the second season, as Gus says. Maybe he's going to be the second season defensive MVP.
Yeah, if we're going to be tough on him during the games where we don't look good, we got to give him props when the defense plays well, and he's right in the middle of everything. So good for him. He's starting to get a little more comfortable now, and maybe he can get a few more sacks here as the season comes to an end. He went the first 5 games without one, something like that. So now the second half of the season here, he's starting to get a couple there on the board, and maybe he's got a 3-sack game here in the future against one of these weaker teams.
Yeah. Well, those are our categories, Mike. Again, overall, not you can nitpick some things here and there. Obviously, some things that I'm sure Gus, as a coach, will come back and ask his team to focus on this week. And all that leads into the homecoming game against Tulane, Mike. We're going to get to that in a second. We're going to get to UCF Observations in a second. But before we do that, Mike, Paper and Lace Boutique. People have got to hear about what's happening with Paper and Lace Boutique. I know it is it's a business close to you, and they do some really great work over there, Mike. Wedding invitations and a whole lot more. Tell everybody out there what they can expect from Paper and Lace.
That's right, and I'm not just saying it because she's my sister, but she makes the nicest wedding invitations in the business. I was just there actually a couple days ago. My daughters were over at her office. I had to drop them off there for a couple hours. I walked into the place. The place looks great, man. She's really got it set up nice. You can walk in there and you can see a lot of different invitations that she's made. She makes them all right there herself with a couple other girls here that work for her. And she can make out anything you need, thousands of invitations. Doesn't matter how big of a party you're having. She can take care of you. The invitations, the place cards, the menus, everything that goes along with having your special day be as special as it needs to be. Give her a call, 954-597-6426. Check out her website, paperandlaceboutique.com, and you can see all the different types of invitations she can create for you. And if you don't see something on there that you want, tell her what you want, and she can make it for you. She can imagine it. She's designed all these things by herself. This is all coming out of her brain. She can do however you want it. You just tell her what kind of material you want, what colors you want, what your theme is, and she'll make it happen for you. Give her a call, 954-597-6426. Tell her you heard about it here on Sons of UCF. 10% off your first order.
Paper and Lace Boutique does great work, Mike. And here's the thing about wedding invitations. You don't need them until you need them. So keep that name in mind. Maybe you're thinking about proposing to that special lady in your life. You're still a couple months away, and you're gonna be sitting around in 6-8 months, being like, man, we got to do invitations. And that's when Paper and Lace Boutique is going to hit you. So keep that name in the back of your brain. Even if you don't need him today, you might need him tomorrow. A friend might need him, a family member. And again, tell them about Paper and Lace Boutique. Make sure they mention Sons of UCF, and 10% comes off that first order. Go to paperandlaceboutique.com if you want to see more stuff, or obviously reach out and connect. I think Instagram's another great way that you can stay connected with them. Mike, coming up next, we're going to connect with some UCF observations. We're the Sons of UCF, and you stay where you are.
This is UCF head football coach Gus Malzahn, and you should listen to the Sons of UCF like your hair is on fire. Go Knights and charge on.
All right, a lot goes on during these games. Mike and I are watching a lot of stuff, and sometimes something comes to us, and we have to find a way to bring it to you guys in the show. So UCF Observations is our time to do just that. Funny things we saw, things that we thought were interesting, and we'll share them with you now, Mike. Your observations from UCF, Temple, and everything in between. What's your first one?
We just talked about the Paper and Lace Boutique invitations. Did you get your invitations this week to the Mikey Keene coming out party that we saw on Saturday?
Mm-hmm. Was that the coming out party? Is that was it? That's official?
I mean, 5 touchdowns. I don't think you can get more of a coming out party than that.
6? 7?
Well, no, but he's already throwing 5, so he's out. He's already out there now.
Okay.
You can't have 2 coming out parties.
So this
Once
is
you
it.
have one,
He's done.
That was the coming out party. If
Okay.
he throws 6 in the next game, then that is a statement game that he's making, or
Okay.
he's declaring that he's here to stay game.
Oh, the declaration. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. I was at the party then. I did not see my invitation, but I must have. I've crashed it halfway through, and it was an enjoyable time. Everybody had a good time.
Yeah, I know I did. King Kong, baby.
King Kong. I just want to start off with this, Mike. I told you we would win because we were on natural grass. I tried to tell all of you the natural grass was where it was at. The only game left we're not on natural grass is SMU. So we can break the streak there, Mike. But I told you we'd win based on the surface. I told everybody. I don't know why you didn't listen to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good call. We have to win that SMU game. Otherwise, that's it. I mean, the other games are at home. We should win those home games. We got to break that streak. All right, this week we are playing against the Green Wave.
Mm-hmm.
And wave is a nice way to greet somebody.
Oh, boy, here we go.
You know what I got?
You have a top 5, don't you?
Top 5 greetings.
Okay. Here we go.
Number 5.
Okay.
The handshake.
Now, is the handshake? What are we doing with the handshake now? Because I know there was the stuff with COVID. Was it higher on your list maybe 2 years ago? And it's fallen down. Was it on the cusp of maybe not making the list? Where are we at with the handshake?
That's right. Maybe a couple years ago, this may have been number 1, number 2, the handshake.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of falling back a little bit. Tradition. It's a long-standing tradition. The handshake. It's still there. I'm back to shaking hands with people now. People have kind of cooled off with the social distancing. I see somebody now, they stick their hand out, I'll shake their hand. I'm not just backing away from it.
Okay.
So handshake's still a solid.
Everybody give Mike your hands. Okay, perfect.
Number 4, the bro hug.
Okay.
The bro hug. You don't give bro hugs to everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but you have your close boys. I see you, I'm giving you a bro hug.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple other guys, bro hugs. It's a sign of endearment to some of your closest friends.
Yeah.
It's a very good greeting when you see your closest guys.
Yeah.
You give them the bro hug.
Let's talk etiquette on bro hug. When you're saying bro hug, are you saying you go with the high five that then leads into the hug, or is it the double arms around the back and the over aggressive back slaps? What's the appropriate bro hug?
No.
Okay.
That's too much.
Neither of those. Okay.
It's the one kind of the high five, but you kind of clasp hands, you bring it in, and you give the one arm around the back, and you can do a pat there. Yeah.
Is it a pat? Is it a fist? Are you going pat, or are you going like with the fist on the back?
I usually do pats.
Okay.
I don't really do the fist in the back. No.
Okay.
Two pats on the back,
Right, double pats.
And
Okay.
you're still holding that inside hand in there on the chest.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're on the same page. I've just seen some people come in and it's a double, sort of bear hug style, multiple aggressive back slaps. But I'm typically in the first camp like you. It's it's sort of the thumbs clasping, handshake grip, pull in, and then with a quick hit on the back. I'm with you on that one.
That's right. That's how you do the bro hug.
That's
properly.
it. Okay. Proper. Now we got it all straight. Okay, we're good.
Yeah. The bear hug's not on this list, by the way.
Well, upset.
All right. Number 3, the fist bump.
Okay.
Fist bump is the cousin of the handshake. That's what was big in 2020. The fist bump. You're still making contact. You're still acknowledging the guy, but you're not really, getting too many germs on each other. You're just kind of banging knuckles.
Okay. Banging knuckles, always a good one. Are you? So, are there offshoots of this? I don't want to spoil the rest of the list. I see some people who, for a while, were trying to do the fist bump, the blow up, right, where you pump fist and then you like put your hand back like a bomb exploded. You're straight old school fist bump, right?
For a greeting, yeah, it's just a regular fist bump. The exploding fist bump is more like during a game, maybe, and you're celebrating a touchdown or something. Instead of a high five, maybe an exploding fist bump.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it with my girls when we're playing softball. They get a big hit or whatever, boom, exploding fist bump, something like that.
Okay.
Not really just to say hello.
Okay.
No, it's just a regular traditional fist bump.
And then velocity. I mean, typically the fist bump is. I feel like it's more of a gentle touching. You're not going in like full punch here, right? You're not full extension. Full extension out. You're more gentle touching, right?
Yeah, and then I've had guys go over aggressive on the fist bumps before. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
I can see if you're excited, if it's in a big moment in the game, I can let it slide.
Okay.
But if you're an overexcited fist bumper all the time, then I'm not fist bumping with you anymore. I may move on to number 2.
Okay, well, I'm actually watching the Braves. They hit another home run. It's 5-0 here right now. I'm seeing a lot of celebrations in the dugout. Maybe you've got a couple of these on there because I saw one that I'm wondering if it's on your list. Go ahead.
Probably not, because number 2 is a greeting, and it's usually a greeting that you do with somebody that you don't even really know, but it's just a head nod. A head nod. You pass somebody, and you give them a little, the chin goes up a little bit. You give them a little head nod, let them know you saw them. And you just keep moving. But it's a nice way to greet somebody, especially if you're a stranger.
Okay. Quick little head nod. Okay. Now, do you smile with that? No, they were not head nodding. Do you smile with that? Is it just now? Some people I've seen the head nod with a wink, like a head nod, a little one of that. Like, is that a different level of head nod?
That's you got to know the person if you're going to wink at them, right? That's more of a.
Well, do you?
You see somebody you know in a distance, and you give them the head nod with a wink, but you're not close enough to get into a full conversation with them. I've never used the wink. More, it's kind of like not even a full smile. It's just kind of like a moving of the mouth, kind of smirk. Not a smirk, but you know what I'm saying.
Clearly, yeah. You're describing it really.
You have the head nod, but you're not going full on smile head nod. No.
Okay.
It's more head nod is more of a serious face greeting. And it's just acknowledging the other person that you see them, they see you, and we're just going to keep it moving. But it's a nice greeting.
Is that the only greeting, though, that can be mistaken for animosity, right? Because if you see somebody like, give them a quick little head nod, could that also be misconstrued as, hey, what's this guy's deal? Why didn't he say hi to me?
I guess it could be. And if you're a little too aggressive with the head nod, it kind of looks like you're, lunging at the guy. Yeah. That could be a...
Is it the rare greeting that could be also accused of starting something? Don't start nothing, won't be nothing, Mike. Could it also be accused of starting something?
Yeah, actually, it could.
Okay.
For sure.
All right, well, that's a tricky one then. Be careful there. Yeah, be careful how you use that one then.
That's right.
Okay.
Don't be too aggressive with your head nod. You may find yourself getting knocked out or something.
I'm going to have to use that as one of our sounders. Perfect.
And the number 1 greeting, the old kiss on the cheek.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kiss on the cheek. I come from a Hispanic heritage family over here, and that's how we greet all our family members. You go into a party, you go around, you give everybody a nice kiss on the cheek. That's for loved ones, close friends. Get the hug and the kiss on the cheek as tradition in the Espinosa house. That's just the way it's always been.
Okay, a couple of omissions here I noticed. The secret handshake. I didn't see that on your list. Where are you on the secret handshake? Obviously, baseball players, basketball players, a lot of athletes have that secret handshake deal. You're not in for that?
I don't have a secret handshake with anyone. You have a secret handshake you share with somebody?
I don't. I mean, my little guy tried for a while to do this like double hand slap situation, but we got bored of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess since it's not in my everyday use, I kind of didn't put it in there. It's okay, but it's not top 5.
One of my new favorite ones too. You see a lot of athletes do this. It's the jump in the air, either chest bump or shoulder bump or like back bump. You see a lot of guys run off the field and do this in football. Where are you at with the aggressive air flying body bump?
Yeah, those are cool to celebrate things, which is fine. But I'm not talking about top 5 celebrations.
So when you walk into work in the morning, you don't jump up and just give your boss a quick little chest bump? No?
No.
Okay.
I don't know if I've ever greeted anybody with a chest bump.
Okay. Well, I think that's your
chest bumps.
Yeah, that's your next time you see Trey Strelko. I need you to start pointing up in the air and just run full speed at him until he jumps at you.
He will be so confused. He has no idea what the hell is going on.
Well, until someone does it first, Mike, it's not going to be a thing. You may have to be that guy.
All right, let's start something then.
All right.
You're going to the game on Saturday.
I am, yes.
Maybe you'll see Trace.
Okay.
Out there.
You want me to?
At him.
All right, I'll see if I can get it recorded. Yep. No, I'll go full speed. I will go full speed. All right. Well, that's a good top 5, Mike. I think of an exciting list coming up later as well. So you wait for that. Mike, fun fact: UCF now 2-0 when Leger Duzable is on the call.
All right. So should we be petitioning for these ESPNU games all the time? We have another one, I'm sure, right? The UConn game is an ESPNU game. He'll probably be on that one too.
Maybe. I'm just saying 2-0 when Leger is in the booth.
Yeah. All right. Good to have one of your own guys in there. At least he follows the team. He knows what he's talking about. I like that. It's better than some random ESPN guy that has no idea what they're talking about.
Agreed.
All right. For the next month, Cincinnati is going to hear about how there is a path to the playoff. Mm-hmm. But I hate to break it to them because the only path they have is to the Fiesta Bowl.
It's a fun event down there, Mike. I don't know if this was really cool. Actually, I saw this. Gus Malzahn offered to buy the Space Game jerseys for the entire team, ergo canceling the auction that UCF had publicized, Mike. So Gus buying the entire jerseys, which is probably going to cost him some money. Do you think he gets an employee discount on that kind of stuff?
I would hope, or at least a bulk discount.
Yeah, something, right?
All of them.
Yeah.
Right? He asked how much it was.
He did. I think
he was kind of smirking, but I think he caught himself. I was like, oh, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
It was a little too late at that point, I think. So I hope they gave him a deal.
Do you think, if I was Gus, I would have been like, hey, I'm going to get everyone space jerseys except for you, Obarski. Like, you have to throw a joke in there or something, right?
Yeah, you think he would have gone after Obarski, though? He's got to get
I was going to say Andrew Osteen, but I was trying not to be too mean. But all right, fine, fair enough.
All right. I wonder how much that did cost Gus. I'm going to just take it out of his contract, maybe.
Well, do the math on what they were charging. I think the minimum bid was $400, right? If I have that right. So do the math. 400, there's probably 90 plus guys who get a jersey. So I guess do the math, and that's probably close to where you get to.
That's a lot of money.
We're paying them decent, I think, right? We're not starting to GoFundMe anytime soon.
No, but still a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
All right. The college football playoff rankings came out today, and they proved to Cincinnati would have been better off losing to Notre Dame to get that coveted quality loss, because losing to an undefeated Notre Dame is actually better than beating a one-loss Notre Dame, which got them nowhere. Number 6.
So do you think if they let's say they lost to Notre Dame 28-27 and won every other game 70-0, do you think that would have gotten them in the top 4?
I don't know. I was kind of making this a joke, but that if you put it that way, maybe. Because Notre Dame would be like number 2 right now, right? And they lost by 1 in an overtime game, and they instead of only beating Navy by 7, they beat them 70-0.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's possible the way this committee, the way they do things.
So instead, they
beat
beat Notre Dame by like 2 touchdowns, and then they only beat Tulane by 20 points and Navy by 2 touchdowns, and that gets them out. If they had lost to Notre Dame by 1 and beat everybody by 70, they'd be in the playoff, which is just fantastic, Mike. Speaking of special teams, Mike, I don't know if you saw in the latest edition of the Our Time, show, they had a focus on the specialist. We got to see a little bit behind the scenes with Daniel Obarski. We got to see some behind the scenes with Alex Ward. Conveniently missing in the specialist, Mike, was Andrew Osteen. You think Gus had a producer credit on this one, Mike? You think Gus put him on the cutting room floor?
Do you think the 2 block punts this year have got him off the show? Maybe?
I mean, there's only one other specialist left. I mean, and he was not. I mean, they went to the long snapper, Mike, instead of going to Osteen. He actually was in a scene. They could have easily been like, "Hey, there's the punter." Nothing. Dylan Gabriel got more airtime, not even playing, than Osteen did.
I wonder if they had recorded stuff with Osteen, but since that week Alex Ward recovered a fumble, they decided to use his content there and kind of tie things together. Who knows?
Yeah,
how much stuff they're actually recording there.
Conspiracy theory, I don't know. Osteen, conveniently not a part of the specialist show.
Jim Harbaugh, Chicago Bears.
Ooh.
Collision course.
Wow.
You heard it here first. Harbaugh can't win the Big Ten, man. He had his shot. He couldn't beat Michigan State. How much longer is he going to stay in Michigan? And, the Bears, he is a Bear, right?
Yeah, he was a Bear for a while. Yeah, he's going to have to coach an Ohio State quarterback. That could be dicey there, though. Mike, are we going to see 4 head coaches in the state of Florida get fired this year? Cows, UF, Miami, FIU. Are we going to see 4 head coaches get fired?
Yeah, FIU, can they afford to fire coaches? I don't know. What conference is FIU going to be in?
I don't even know. Yeah, that's a great question.
Independent? Their entire conference fell apart. I don't know if they're in the business of firing anybody. Miami now they've won 2 games in a row against ranked teams. Maybe Manny Diaz isn't going to get fired.
Maybe.
Who knows there? Dan Mullen's not doing himself any favors. He's looking like a dumber person every week. That's possible. I think Florida fans are kind of getting tired of him. And the Cows, that leads me to my next. Scott Frost, Temple Terrace collision course.
Wow.
Because Jeff Scott may be on his way out. Again, that's another school, though. They're still paying Charlie Strong and Willie Taggart probably at this point. Who knows how many guys they're still paying. They may still be paying, what's his name?
Skip Holtz?
Skip Holtz,
yeah.
Exactly. I don't know what their deal is. How many head coaches can they pay at once?
Well, they just went on probation, too, for the Charlie Strong era. Right. They just got slapped with some NCAA infractions as well.
Right. So, but if Frost is going to get fired at Nebraska, do you think he'd want to come back to Florida and start recruiting some of those Florida kids, see what he can do again, build his name back up? And would it be at a place like Cal University or maybe at FIU where he can go down and recruit Miami?
I think he would probably have his pick of some potential offensive coordinator jobs, even though his offense hasn't been that great. He could probably get himself a P5 OC job, or he would have to, in my opinion, sort of take that route of almost what Charlie did, right, when he left Texas, where it would be a Cal, an FIU, something like that. We just saw Clay Helton, who was the USC coach. He just got announced as the Georgia Southern head coach. So for some context, that's kind of probably where Frost is looking at, unless he wants to take a P5 OC, which may actually pay more money overall, by the way.
Yeah, he could always find a job with Saban. Saban can resurrect his career like he does with every other failed head coach, and then find himself in a better spot in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Mike, do you think do you think you know what the O in Ryan O'Keefe stands for?
No, he didn't drop that ball.
Offensive MVP.
Oh.
Yeah. Am I wrong?
No.
Yeah.
It would have been Bowser if he had stayed healthy for that. But missing those games, O'Keefe has taken over that lead.
Yeah.
You're right. And if it wasn't for that one drop this week, he had another very good game with a couple touchdowns in there. He made up for it. That last touchdown was a very nice throw by Mikey, put on the money, but he made a nice catch there, stayed with it. So he's having a very good season. He's doing it at all. He's doing it with the run game, the receiving game. So I really like O'Keefe, man. You're right. He has been the offensive MVP.
Boom.
You think we took a lot of crap in 2017 when we declare ourselves national champions. Just wait until you see what happens when Gus hangs our second half of season national championship banner on the stadium, because that's what we're going for. We're going to be the second half of the season national champs.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm here for it. I don't know if Timo will buy it, but I'm here for it.
We're going to be 6-0. That's what we're going for.
Mike, I don't know if you saw this. Our good friend JP Gilbert decided to drop his inaugural version of a top 5 list. Mike, he decided to do top 5 Haas running backs in UCF history, and his mentions blew up after that. Mike, you know what we call that?
Ratioed? Did you get ratioed?
It is, but jumping right into the deep end. JP Gilbert didn't take it easy on an easy top 5. He jumped right in there with top 5 Haas running backs. Proud of you, JP.
Yeah. Good effort.
Yeah.
He did. He did admit. I thought JP went further back than that. He said he didn't go further back than 2010.
I think I think he was trying to do a bit of a cap there. Stanback was omitted. Obviously, everyone's thrown in Elgin Davis and Mark Giacone from the old days. Alex Haynes was omitted. So it's a tough listen. Maybe we make these top 5s look easy. I don't know, but JP jumped right in the deep end there with top 5 Haas running backs.
That's a tough list, man. We had a lot of very good running backs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Congrats to Mike White on his first NFL start and win.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the Bengals could have used on Sunday there to stop him? How about some Jordan Ozerites?
Oh, I see what you did there.
Mike White's kryptonite.
Yeah.
He would have been there. You never know. The Bengals probably win that game.
Yeah.
Mike White was a student of our Ryan Schneider. He was a quarterback for his in high school just a few years ago. So he although he was a Cal, he was the quarterback of the Cows the first time we ever beat him. So that's good for us. And then he left the Cows, ended up having a good college career, and now playing in the NFL. Good for him. And he's a local kid down here too.
Anybody who leaves the Cows is always making a smart decision, Mike. We are recording this on Tuesday, so it's a bit disorienting. We've our normal routine is off, and we've had a lot of things going on, Mike. And so it got me thinking, though, Mike. Top 5 days of the week. What are the top 5 actual days of the week? We know there's 7, but I'm going to give you the top 5 list of days of the week. Are you ready for the top 5?
I can't wait.
All right, this is going to be controversial. Number 5, Sunday. Sunday's number 5, Mike. Here's why. Sunday's it's a trick one if you think about it for just a second, right? Your typical Sunday starts off. You probably, if you're normal, you probably had a good Saturday night. So you're a little sluggish maybe on the Sunday. You wake up a little later than usual, maybe a little bit too much the night before. So you're feeling some effects. They don't call it a lazy Sunday for nothing, right? So you get a little bit of a late start. You're moving around the house. It's typically one of those people do the church thing. Maybe they're doing some house chores or whatnot. Then you realize football's on. You're like, okay, I got a day of football, especially in football season. Nothing better. Red Zone channel comes on. You're like, I'm here for the next couple of hours, right? Then right about that 6 o'clock mark, it hits you that Monday is right around the corner. And then you're like, crap, I got that meeting. Are my pants clean? I haven't seen my shoes. Did I send that email to my boss? Then the case of the Mondays start really creeping in there towards the end of that Sunday, and you realize that your weekend is almost coming to an end. So Sunday, sneaky bad day at the end, sneaky good day at the beginning, Mike. That's why it's number 5 on my days of the week.
No.
Okay.
Hard disagree. I love Sundays. Sundays are great. Just for those reasons. You get to sleep in. I don't really ever get to sleep in. Definitely not during the week. And on Saturdays now with the girls' softball, that's never a sleeping day. Sunday is basically the only day I get to sleep past 8, 9 o'clock. I really slept in this past Sunday. I think I went to like 12:30.
Jeez.
Yeah. Just because of the reason you said Saturday, I went hard.
Okay.
I had to.
Yeah.
I had to on Sunday. I slept it off. It felt good. Football Sundays, NFL football Sundays, some of the best Sundays of the year. I love my Sundays, and I'm not one of these that starts dreading Mondays on Sundays. I enjoy my Sunday all the way through until bedtime, and I'm not agreeing with this.
All right, well,
Sunday's got to be a top 2.
That's 5. All right, number 4, Tuesday. Simply because it's not Monday, right? Because when you get to Tuesday, then you're like, oh, thank God Monday's over. It's past me. I can move on. Usually in some seasons, baseball, basketball, you'll have some sneaky good games on a Tuesday night, right? Maybe NBA Finals, or tonight a World Series game is on. So you may have some sneaky good games that are coming on. Again, and the week is already now on the upward trajectory. Your Monday's in the rearview mirror. You can already start thinking ahead to the weekend and what your plans are. So Tuesday is number 4, Mike. I think it's an underrated day. Tuesday is my number 4 day of the week.
No, Tuesday has no feel. I don't feel Tuesday. Monday has a feel. Thursday has a feel. I don't feel Tuesday.
Okay. Well,
I'm not going Tuesday.
Okay. Well, then this is my top 5. Here we go. All right. Number 3, Thursday. I think Thursday is a good number 3, Mike, because it's Friday Eve. You can start thinking about your weekend. You're so close. The Friday's there. Again, with the sports calendar and the NFL season, you have NFL football. You have some college on Thursdays. Those games used to be better than they were, but not anymore. Again, baseball, basketball season, you may have some games on a Thursday night as well. Also, the night you can watch the live show with me, Mike, and Tresa. What else did you want there? Some people maybe have that 4-day work week, so your Thursday is your Friday, which makes it even better. A lot of people take that Friday off, Mike, because if you can do a long weekend, maybe you say, I'm off Friday, I'm going to take off the weekend. So it's a lot of Thursdays turn into Fridays, which is what makes Thursday the number 3 day of the week.
Thursday's a fun day. Thursday's not bad. But yeah, it's right there where it belongs. The number 3. It's not a top 2, and
yeah,
but it's okay. I like Thursdays.
All right, number 2, probably predictable, Mike. I'm gonna go Friday. Right here, Friday's number 2. Obviously, it's the signal of the weekend. All you have is probably 8 little short hours to get through your workday, and you're into the weekend, and that's obviously a good thing. You know that's when hope springs eternal. You got all these plans, and you start figuring out what you're going to do. The only downside of a Friday is it still requires you to be in your normal routine. So I know for somebody like myself, I think somebody like you as well, I'm up early. I'm an early riser. I'm an early workout guy, so I'm still up at 4:35 a.m., so on Friday night by like 8:30, 9 o'clock, my body's like, hey, bro, we've been up like 17, 18 hours. You don't have as much energy as you do maybe going into another weekend day. So that's the only downside of a Friday is you can't really jam-pack it too much because you had a long day overall. But again, it's the weekend. It's here. Probably do something fun, maybe something a little bit lighter on the fun side. But it's the start of what's hopefully going to be a great weekend for people. So Friday, number 2 day of the week.
Let me show you how ass backwards your whole list is.
Okay.
You're telling me a day where you have to spend, in your words, just 8 short hours at work
Yep.
is better than a day where you spend 8 hours watching football on the couch.
Yep.
How in anybody's world does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Because on Friday you're looking forward to the next day, or on Sunday you're dreading the next day.
Yeah.
No, dude, you need to start living in the moment.
Okay.
The moment of Sunday
Why are you yelling at
is so much better. That's when you're actually drinking beers, eating big sandwiches, watching football, instead of a Friday.
How big are these sandwiches?
Where you're at the office and just counting down the hours before you get to go home and fall asleep at 8 o'clock because you've been up since 4 in the morning.
What kind of big sandwich are we eating?
Any kind of big sandwich.
I just didn't know. Espadas. I mean, I haven't had Espadas in a long time. Good sandwich.
Yeah.
All right. Number 1 day of the week.
Ago.
Number 1 day of the week, Mike. Saturday. Saturday is a clear-cut choice here. During college football season, nothing is better than a Saturday. There's so much football on. If your team's playing and they get a win like we got this past Saturday, that's always fun. A lot of fun activities, even a non-football season. You may enjoy the beach. You may do something with the family. A lot of good options on a Saturday. All the available options are there. If you want to take a quick weekend out of town, you can do that. Saturday just opens up a world full of possibilities. So Saturday, clear-cut number 1 day of the week. There's no disputing this.
No, Saturday should be number 1. You're right, because you can stay up late. You can sleep in the next day. You can do whatever you want on a Saturday. Obviously, college football, that we only get 12 UCF games on Saturdays, and they're not even always on Saturdays. But
Fair point.
College football Saturday is great. That is clear number 1. I'd say Sunday would be number 2 in my book. So the other day you don't have to go to work, and then you work your way backwards.
We all agree Monday's last, right? Monday 7?
Yeah. I don't know how you put Tuesday in over Wednesday.
Because Wednesday, then you're like, hey, you know what? You're so much closer to the weekend, but it's still not there yet. And you still got to wait those 2 extra days. And then you're like, crap, it's just the middle of the week. It's, nothing's really going on. It's a Wednesday. You're removed, but you're too far away. It's kind of in between. I think Tuesday, hope springs eternal because, again, it's not Monday anymore. At least it's not Monday. Tuesday, I think, Wednesday's probably in the 6th seed, and then you get Monday on the 7th seed.
Are you on Taco Tuesday? Is that what's putting it over the top on Wednesday?
I mean, you can't argue boneless wings and Buffalo Wild Wings. I think Tuesday and Thursday are both half off. If that's you got Taco Tuesday at some point, right? Wednesday. It's just Wednesday. You're like, crap. It's still not the weekend. But this weekend's behind, so you're in between weekends. It's too far back to celebrate what you just did. Too far away to think about what's coming up next. You're just stuck right there in the middle. No one takes a Wednesday off of work either, right? Because you're not going to sandwich like a little vacation there. So you're not going to be like, hey, I work Monday, Tuesday, I'm off Wednesday, working Thursday, Friday. So it's right in the middle. It's always in the way. There's nothing you can do with it. Wednesday, it may be worse than Monday. It's not, but it may be.
No, if you do take off Wednesday, think about this. Tuesday becomes a Friday, which is number 2 on your list. So it's pretty good to take off a Wednesday.
I'd love a good Wednesday, but then if you got to come back on Thursday, then Thursday becomes your second Monday. So now you've got 2 Mondays in that week.
Yeah, but it's still Thursday because the next day is Friday again.
But if Thursday is like a Monday because you're like, I was off, now I'm back. So it's like you're starting back over again. The clock restarts.
No.
But then you get to Friday, so you jump ahead. But it's almost like you get a quasi-second Monday. I don't think you do that. That's a bad idea. Idea.
But it's still Thursday because you still only have the next day, Friday. And then you're, boom, another 2 days off.
You think anybody's still listening to this?
I don't know. Okay. What's the only day that doesn't end in Y?
Tomorrow.
There you go.
Boom.
Can we end the day thing now? I got another list anyway. So.
Yeah, no, I wasn't prepared for the Sounders. Okay. I don't have much observations left. I got a couple of Holler jokes, but if you want to get in there, go ahead.
Yeah, I've only got one more. Sister Hazel will be performing at homecoming this year.
Not good.
Yeah. I don't really. I guess that one song.
All for you, yeah. Hard to say what it is I see. That's it.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know what they do.
Yeah.
But that got me thinking. Hazel is a type of nut. So here we go.
Jesus.
Top 5 nuts.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Number 5. Pistachio.
Okay.
You like pistachios? You like
I
pistachio
do.
ice cream?
I do. I don't think I've had that ice cream. I do like pistachio. Are you the green variety? I assume you're good with.
Yeah. Do they come in other colors?
I think that you can get them deshelled. No, I feel like you can work around that. I don't know. Maybe not. I could be wrong.
I think the nut inside is still green.
Okay.
Number 4, pecans.
Pecan.
Pecan.
There's a lot going on there.
Pecan pie.
There's a lot going on with the pecan. Yeah. It's a larger nut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a problem with large nuts?
It's a lot going on there. It depends on what day of the week it is.
Number 3, macadamia nuts.
That's off the board. Okay. What do you eating those whole? Is that in something? What are you doing there?
Yeah, I just eat them straight out of the bag.
So you just go to the store, get your quick little bag of macadamia nuts, and that you're all set for the day?
Yeah, not for the whole day, but it's a nice little snack.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Number 2, almonds.
Okay. I do like a good almond. Good high protein, good fat content. I like a good almond.
Yeah. Did you get any almond joys in the Halloween baskets this week?
We may have some laying around. I didn't really partake in any of the Halloween candy per se. Not a huge candy guy. If it's sitting around, I end up eating it, but I don't seek it out per se. But I think the kids got some laying around there someplace. Are you what kind of almond are you? Are you roasted, salted? Are you just kind of plain variety? Do you need any flavor on your almonds?
I don't know, man. Some salted almonds, I guess.
For a guy with a top 5 list, you don't have a lot of information. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go to number 1. You know what number 1 is. I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
These nuts.
There it is.
Got him.
There it is.
Got him.
Nick Saban's favorite joke. Congratulations. You and Nick Saban now have something in common. That's good news.
You thought I was going to go peanuts there, didn't you?
I thought you were going to go, I thought you were going to go like the baseball peanut where you got to crack the thing and the shell comes out, like the Texas Roadhouse situation where you throw them on the ground. I thought that's where you were going there. Actually, I thought you were going someplace else, but I was hoping you weren't going there. And then when I was like, he's not going to do that. That's too obvious. Then I was wondering what it was going to be. I thought you might go peanuts. And then probably about halfway through, I was like, is there going to be D's Nuts joke coming up? And I wasn't sure where you're going to go there. So fantastic.
And D. Gordon for the Marlins, when he was at the Marlins, they sold D's Nuts at the stadium, I'm pretty sure.
You might be right there. I don't think I can top that, Mike. I'm out of observations. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm out too.
All right, Mike is out. Mike is out of his nuts, and so we will we'll do a quick transition here, Mike. I don't know how you move away from that, but Tulane homecoming for UCF Spirit Splash is coming up, Mike. I think it's going to be a traditional Spirit Splash. Last year obviously was
Splash.
Hey, very good. Last year's was postponed or whatever, modified based on some COVID stuff. So Spirit Splash, always a good time, no?
Splash.
Wow.
I enjoyed Spirit Splash. That was always a fun day. Right? We were always in there. I think we went into the water every single year.
Yeah, we did.
And sometimes it was cold. Right? There was a couple of years when it was pretty cold. I haven't checked the weather this week. Things are cooling down though.
Yep.
The last couple of days around here, it's been cooling down. So that's always a fun time and good to have the tradition back. Last year, it kind of sucked without it. And I still I follow along. The last few years, if I'm at work, they have the live cam. So if you don't get a chance to be a part of it, at least I try to watch for a couple of minutes, watch everybody run in there and watch a little bit of the pep rally, see what Coach Malzahn has to say. It's a good time. Tradition.
Good
tradition. Unlike any other.
Yeah, good tradition to have that back. So they throw the ducks out now, which is obviously always pretty cool and pretty exciting. You're able to catch one of those. Players obviously stop by and say some words. I assume Coach Malzahn will be out there for some of that. President Cartwright will probably be out there for some of that. So it's Cartwright. It's a good time for everybody. So for everyone going, have a good time if you're going to be able to make it out there, Mike. But then the game comes on Saturday, Tulane, 4 p.m. They are 1-7. As you mentioned, Michael Pratt, the quarterback, did not play in the last game. He's had a pretty decent year, Mike, 16 touchdowns versus 5 INTs. But Tulane, after they played Oklahoma close, lost 40-35. Then they beat up on Morgan State. Then they took losses to Ole Miss, UAB, ECU, Houston, SMU, and Cincinnati. If we're going to be fair, they've played 5 ranked teams, right? Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Houston, SMU, and Cincy all ranked at some point. So they've played a pretty tough schedule. So maybe 1-7 is indicative of that. But they haven't really been in a few games in a long time. ECU 52-29, Houston 40-22, SMU 55-26, Cincy 31-12 this past weekend, Mike. So they played some tough opponents outside of Morgan State. So you don't know what you're going to get with Tulane. They've got an offense that is predicated a little bit on the run in the pass. I think they're a bit multiple. So we'll see what we get. But I will tell you this, Mike. They have one of the greater sets of uniforms in college football.
Yeah, I like their color scheme there. So and the wave helmet is cool. It's kind of like a throwback kind of mascot they got. So they're nice to look at, I guess, on the field, especially when we're kicking their ass. And they've been getting their ass kicked by a lot of teams so far this year. We should keep that going.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a home game. It's on natural grass, which is our specialty. So I expect a win. I expect the defense to keep playing the way it's been playing, get some pressure on this Michael Pratt, if he's even playing, and wreak some havoc in the backfield. And Mikey Keene throw another 5 touchdowns. So that's now the expectation going forward.
2 running backs to look out for: Cameron Carroll and Tyjae Spears. Seem to be a bit of a 2-headed monster in the running back room, Mike. And on defense, safety Mason Clark, 50 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss, 1 sack, 2 INTs. And they have a D lineman, JoJo Dorcius, 5 tackles for a loss, 3.5 sacks. So they do have a couple of stud guys on defense, a pretty good linebacker as well. But obviously, it's hard to say what Tulane is. Have they just had a buzz off a schedule, or are they a football team that just has not played well and will continue to struggle? Hopefully it's the latter, and we will find out more on Saturday. I don't know if we're covering that game, Mike. Do you know what the line is on that one already?
Ooh, I'm not using it for one of my picks. I saw it earlier. I want to say it was like 9.5. Okay. But no, maybe it was like 13. Don't quote me on that one. I'm not sure. I can get back to you during the pick segment and let you know in a minute. Okay.
I mean, I didn't have to quote you. You actually said it out loud. So no quote needed. I can pull it up here while we're talking. Sports Illustrated. What do they have for me here? This is blah, blah, blah. Plus 12.5 for Tulane. So.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah, I see it at 13 here on that side. So
there you go.
Yeah.
We covering that one? It's not one of your picks. Give me a bonus pick. We covering that one?
It's not one of my picks. Yeah. I want to say we're covering it, but my picks have been so bad I didn't want to use it and say that we're going to cover, and then we won't. So, but I do feel like we are going to cover. I think should be another comfortable win, and 2 touchdowns at home against a 1-7 football team should be expected.
Well, let's talk about the rest of the American at this point, Mike. It appears that we have a 3-team race right now that would be for the top 2 spots, which would get to the championship game. Houston had I don't know if it's an upset, but they ended up beating SMU on a kick return at the very last play of the game, essentially. Shades of the Mike Hughes stuff. So they win. They're 7-1 now. SMU with that loss is 7-1, and obviously Cincinnati is 8-0. Cincinnati and SMU have to play each other. Houston's schedule is pretty light down the stretch. Cows, Temple, Memphis, and then UConn, which obviously is the conference opponent. So that's kind of a 3-team race, Mike. Is there any hope in your mind? We're in it until we're out of it. Any chance, any hope? Do you have anything in the tank for UCF trying to find a way to eke into one of those 2 spots?
Not after Houston beat SMU. No, sadly, I believe that ended all hope. Houston would have to lose at least 2 of their final 3 games, and the next 2 are against the Cows and Temple, probably the 2 worst teams in the conference. I don't see them losing to either one of them. You want to tell me they lose to Memphis the last conference game? I guess it's possible. Memphis is not even that good either. So I see them running the table here unless some kind of catastrophic injuries start setting in on them and something happens. Who knows? But no, I think Houston's in. The other possibility would have to be Cincinnati, I guess, losing a couple more games. And they'd have to lose 3 games. That's not happening either. I know they play SMU, but still. They're not losing them and 2 other games, so we're not going to jump over them. Our only hope was for SMU to beat Houston last week, and that would have given Houston 1 loss. And they still would have needed to lose another conference game between the Cows, Temple, and Memphis, which probably is not going to happen anyway. So, no, sadly, I do not see any possible way we can get it.
So what's your prediction now? Who are the 2 teams going to the conference championship?
Yeah, it's got to be Cincinnati and Houston. That's basically it. Unless SMU can beat Cincinnati, in a couple weeks, and they'd have to beat us and Cincinnati. Then they'd have the tiebreaker over Cincinnati, and then it would be Houston and SMU again. But I don't see that happening either. So it's going to be Houston. It's going to be Cincinnati. I guess it's good for the future Big 12 teams, right? Those are the 2 other teams coming over with us. If they can be both undefeated in conference going into the championship game, I guess it's good for the American this year. And it pretty much would guarantee the American team goes to the NY6 game, guaranteeing the most money for the conference this year. So I can't see any other possibility. Only if SMU beats Cincinnati is the only other way some other team gets into the championship game, but that is not likely.
Well, I guess we have to play them on the field, right? I guess stranger things have happened. We'll see. To your point, Houston's got to lose 2 of these at USF, at Temple, and then home to Memphis. You wouldn't think you see 2 losses in that 3-game stretch there, but I guess stranger things have happened. If anybody wants to step up and play well, Cows, Temple, I'm looking at you guys, but things are obviously looking a little bit bleak for UCF, Mike. But coming up, things are looking bleak for our picks. I think both you and I are starting to fade a little bit. And we've got some folks who were talking a little bit of trash this past weekend, Mike. Let's go over all that in just a moment here. We'll do your picks right after this, only on the Sons of UCF.
This is UCF Athletic Director Terry Mohajir, and in my spare time when I'm not on TikTok, I'm listening to Adam and Mike on the Sons of UCF. Go Knights and charge on!
All right, stop me if you heard this before. If they play them, Mike's going to pick them. We've been doing this all season long, part of our season-long pool tracker tournament where the winner gets a Sons of UCF hat and maybe, don't know if we have any of those left, and a cool Citronaut hoodie as well. Mike, I was notified on Saturday while I appeared on the night shift program that Eric Lopez and Andrew Glukov were making their way up the charts. I peeked on Sunday. It appears they've moved past all of the Sons of UCF members, myself, you, and Trace included. So things are looking bleak there, but neither one is in the top spot. So where are we at with the pool tracker? Who is currently in the running for the swag gifts from the Sons of UCF?
Yeah, the leader now for the 3rd week in a row, SJB43. Still don't know who this person is. Maybe they can reveal themselves to us, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook, or send us a message on the show here somewhere. They're in first right now, but only by a game over Stat Boy Drew and Elo. SJB 43 has got a record of 42-31. The two Banneret guys, 41-32. They have passed us. That's not saying much. I mean, everybody's passed me long ago. I said even Trace has a 1-game lead on me still. But it's only 1 game. He was 2 games up on me last week, and he was spiking the football and dancing in my face on the live show. Now only 1 game lead with still plenty of weeks to go. He's at 33-40. I'm at 32-41. You are the leader of the Suns right now at 38-35. I mean, you're making money. If you bet it on every one of those games, you'd be up right now.
Okay,
so,
all right, I'll take that.
Overall for the pool tracker, I went 3-2 last week. I told you I was 32-41 for the season on my picks here on the show. Not good. 10, 16-1. I went 1-2 on my show pick last week. I won the UCF Temple game. I lost SMU Houston, and I lost Cincinnati Tulane. Boy, I tried to go with my heart. I try to go with my head. I try to do the opposites. I've tried all different kinds of things. I'm running out of ideas, but I still have 3 games here. I'm ready to pick for you guys. Take this information, go the other way with it, and win some big money. Game number 1.
Let's go.
Houston, minus 13 points at the Cows. The Cougars, with their version of the Mike Hughes kick return to beat SMU last week and basically clinch a spot in the championship game, all the way up to number 20 in the AP poll, and will probably find their way up. They got the softest schedule I've ever seen in my life. I tried to warn everybody before the season. They didn't play us. They didn't play Cincinnati. They get Memphis and SMU at home. They finished the year with Cows, Temple, Memphis, and UConn. 4 of the easiest games you can ever draw up. They're going to be top 15, maybe top 12 by the end of the year, by the time they face Cincinnati in the championship game. And last week, the Cows, they hung in there with the Pirates for about the first half, and then they did what Cows do, and they fell apart. This could be maybe a letdown game for Houston, coming off that big, exciting win last week against SMU. And maybe they get off to a slow start in the first half and let the Cows hang in like the Cows were hanging in last week. But I think they're just going to pull away. 13 points is not that much. Houston has won the last 5 meetings in this matchup. The last time the Cows beat a Houston team, you got to go all the way back to 2002. Long time ago. Give me Houston. Give up the 13 points. I think they run away with this here in the second half. Something like 40-18.
Man, I really want to pick the Cows here, right? Because to your point, I think Houston, under Dana Holgerson, really in his time even at West Virginia, like he's always had one of these games that just make you scratch your head, and you know they just don't show up. His best win-loss record was 10-3 twice at West Virginia. He has not had a winning season yet at Houston. Obviously, that'll change this year. I feel like there's a game where they're going to be a little sluggish. They're going to make some mistakes. They're not going to be playing well, and they kind of have that surprise loss. So I would not be surprised to see them do that. The Cows would appear to be, in my opinion, just based on what I've seen of Temple, the Cows are at least starting to play a tad bit better. They may have found something in Timmy McLean at quarterback. I'm not saying that they're going to win this thing outright, but at some point I think Houston's going to have a bit of a stinker. So against all 206 bones in my body, I might go with the Cows here, and maybe not an outright, but at least to take the points. So I'm going to flip. I'm going to go Cows.
Yeah, well, you're smart to go against whatever I say.
That's
it's very
also
possible.
Yeah.
The Cows turn this into a 3-point game and maybe a devastating loss of somehow at the end. But I'm going to stick with Houston. I'm going to say they blow them out and continue to roll their way to the conference championship game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair.
Game number 2, Temple Owls. They're getting 15 points on the road at East Carolina. And now, after watching this past week, the Owls are the worst team I've seen this year. They allowed the Cows the week before to run for 420 yards on them. We absolutely destroyed them at home. The Pirates have been competitive in games, even the games that they've lost. the game to us. It was a close game. They played a close game and lost against Houston, and they lost a 3-point game at South Carolina earlier in the year. They are a competitive football team. The game against the Cows last week, I'll give them a little bit of a break because it was kind of an ugly weather game. Kept the Cows in there for a half, but they did end up covering that one. They've covered the spread the last 5 weeks, the Pirates have, and I believe the Owls have just quit on the season. At least it appeared they did halfway. We seem to have taken their soul halfway through the game last week. They're out of it. Give me East Carolina to win this one, something like 36-10, and cover 15 points at home.
I don't know if I should or shouldn't, but I actually agree with this analysis, Mike. I think Temple just looked like they were done. They wanted no part of playing after a while, and I don't know if that's indicative of a team that is just not behind their coach, and maybe we see a coaching change in Rod Carey coming next season, but it didn't look like they were a team that really wanted to play a ton. I think ECU is sneaky good. Don't forget they had a really good running back that we were able to bottle up, but had a big game the week prior. Obviously, we saw Temple hasn't been stout against the run. Holton Ahlers was able to throw the ball a little bit on us. They have a couple of good receivers. They have Snead, who's been there since like 19 years, and C.J. Johnson as well. So I'm going to agree with you on this one. I think ECU lay the 15.
Yeah, I just think the Pirates are that much better than Temple. I think everybody's that much better than Temple. So while we've been patting ourselves on the back for a nice, comfortable 49-7 win, basically everybody's going to do that to Temple the rest of the way. So give me the Pirates. Game number 3, Tulsa is getting 22.5 points at Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
The Golden Hurricane lost to Navy last week, giving Navy only their second win of the year. And we know who they beat for their first one. They only beat the Cows by 1 point a couple weeks ago and haven't looked great. I mean, they were in the championship game last year. They've lost a lot of guys off that team. The Bearcats, meanwhile, maybe the pressure is starting to build on these guys. The last 2 weeks, close games against Navy, close game against Tulane, some of the bottom teams in this conference. But College game day is coming to town to Cincinnati. And you know what that means. You know the crowd is going to be hyped. They're going to be into it. They're going to be angry about their number 6 college football playoff ranking, right? So all the signs of that points to Cincinnati just going in and blowing the doors off Tulsa, which makes me believe Tulsa may cover this 22.5. And you know what Tulsa has on their side? The American Athletic Conference referees. Something maybe we have to watch out for here the rest of the way. Them not wanting Cincinnati to have such an easy path to the playoff with them on their way out to the Big 12. This is a rematch of last year's championship game, which was only a 3-point win for Cincinnati. These teams were a much closer matchup last year. Tulsa, believe it or not, leads the all-time series, 17-16. So not only do they lead the all-time series against us, but also against Cincinnati. 2 ties all-time. But Tulsa has not won a game in Cincinnati since all the way back to 1978. Cincinnati's won 7 of the last 8 meetings. I believe Cincinnati wins. Maybe they win by 21. But that 22.5 is kind of what's scaring me. Give me Tulsa to cover the points. Cincinnati wins maybe 41-20. Still not enough to cover the spread.
Cincinnati is going to be pissed off. I'm already seeing on social media Luke Fickell's making some comments about the committee, basically saying, who the hell did that chairman guy ever play for? What does he know? I think you've obviously got game day coming to town. I think they're going to want to make a statement. They're going to want to come out and say, you want us to blow teams out? Fine, we'll blow teams out. Tulsa's had an up and down season. As much as I would love Tulsa to do, yeoman's work and do to Cincinnati what they've done to us the last couple of seasons, I think Cincinnati is going to be too fired up for this one. I think there's going to be, a lot of potential, distractions with everything going on, but I think they stay focused. I think these guys know it's probably that they're the last year together. Now they're really just kind of us against them. I think they come out curb stomp Tulsa.
Yeah, that's what my original thought was, but now I'm going opposite of what I really think.
I know what you're doing there. I see you.
I think Cincinnati should win this game something like 56-3, something or whatever they did to us. And they should kill them and make a statement that the committee is really not going to care about. They beat up Tulsa by that much anyway.
Yeah,
they're not going to be that impressed if Ohio State goes out and beats a good team, they're still going to rank them ahead of them. So, but the college game day thing is a factor, I suppose. There's going to be a lot of hype going into that game. I'm just going with my opposite reaction here and taking Tulsa.
I think it's going to be interesting, right? Because I do think you could see an argument where Fickle goes in there and says, look, they don't want us to be here. They don't believe in us. Only we believe in us. Let's go out there and, kick these guys' asses. And, and we don't play for these guys, for these committee guys. We do for this. I'm actually curious how they treat, ESPN, although they're not the committee, right? Are they going to do all the interviews and stuff? Are they going to be, a little bit, are they going to be opening to things? I think that may be interesting to see. As far as the American referees, that's an interesting perspective. I saw Oresco had a comment basically saying that, like, this is self-fulfilling prophecy. They won't rank our teams who they should be ranked so that we can't get ranked wins, and essentially saying that we sort of know who the committee is and, disappointed that Cincinnati's not in there. I don't know. Obviously, that's got to be a bit of a double-edged sword for Oresco because obviously, Cincinnati's leaving. So it'll be interesting to see, but I think Cincy just comes out and tries to set a statement on this one.
Yeah, they should, which is why I don't think they will.
Yeah.
So,
all right, those are the picks. Those are the picks then. Mike's official picks. Again, if you're in the pool tracker, don't forget to get in there and get your games. A Citronaut hoodie, courtesy of our friend Chet, is on the line. Maybe a Sons of UCF hat if we can find one, also on the line. So SJB 43. If you can hold off the pack, you've got Statboy Drew chomping at your heels there. So we'll see how the race goes down. Still a lot of football left to be played, but hopefully you enjoyed the picks. Hopefully you're doing opposite of Mike and you are winning yourself some money, because gambling now legal in Florida, by the way, Mike. That took place, I think, on Monday. So
that's right.
Gamble at your own peril if you're taking UCF Mike's advice. What you can count on Mike for, by the way, is a quality cow of the week. And I think we're going to do that next, Mike. How's that sound?
Sounds like fun. Let's get into it.
All right. Don't move.
Okay, Sons of UCF, both of you, you are the fun.
I haven't seen UCF Mike as excited for Cow of the Week as he is tonight in a long, long, long time. Again, peeling the curtain back for just a sec. Typically, Mike decides on his cow shortly before we start this segment off. And I usually have to say, hey, do you have a cow? And he's like, yeah, I don't really know. I didn't even have to get, hey, do you have a cow? And he was like, yep, I got one. He's getting the details ironed out. He's got the story ironed out, Mike. This one is a Sons of UCF special. I think this story was created for us to be able to share it on this particular show. Mike, without further ado, I don't know if you have a cow of the week. You have an animal of the week, though.
That's right. One time, my wife was upset with me, and she said something about, why don't you make yourself the monkey of the week on your show there or whatever, right? And I was like, it's the cow of the week, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
But this week, it actually is the monkey of the week. If you heard this story.
I just like, hold on. Your wife made you the monkey of the week at the house, or she wanted, like, what happened there?
Yeah, I don't know. I forget what the whole thing was. And she knew about the cow of the week segment, but she obviously didn't know the name of it. She's like, why aren't you the monkey of the week this week or something?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Perfect.
But there is a monkey of the week. If you haven't heard, Texas Longhorn special teams coach Jeff Banks. This guy had a haunted house at his house over the weekend for the kids in the neighborhood going trick-or-treating. This guy is also dating a exotic dancer who is known for her act. Her name is Danielle Thomas. She is also known as the pole assassin. And her act contains a monkey as part of it. She's actually pretty famous and well known. I guess she's been on the Jerry Springer show. And as part of her dance routine, she has a monkey perform there with her. Well, these people thought it was a good idea to have all kinds of kids from the neighborhood walk through their house. And what could go wrong with a pet monkey other than the monkey biting one of the kids' faces off? And you've heard about pet monkeys doing this to people before. Wasn't there a lady that had her whole face ripped off by a pet monkey that she had for like 10 years? Not that long ago. What are you doing, people? If you're going to have a haunted house, do not have wildlife running around the whole house. Imagine if this is your kid walking
Mm-hmm.
around the neighborhood, going to somebody's house, and they had to pry the monkey's jaws off this kid's face.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to tell you other than these guys are the easy pick for cow of the week.
Mm.
Jeff Banks, his girlfriend, the pole assassin, the monkey, all of them. They're all cows this week. I'm all for Halloween trick or treating. I'm all for haunted houses. We actually went on Saturday. The karate dojo right here down the street, they do a really good job with their haunted house. We went and checked them out. That was a fun time. Kids enjoyed it. But you cannot have wild animals running around the haunted house, putting kids in danger. Big no-no. Right?
Yeah, a lot to unpack here. So first off, hopefully the young child is okay. I don't know if we have an update on the condition there, but hopefully the young child is okay.
That kid's never going to be okay.
Well, fair, fair enough. I saw where Pole Assassin was on social media, and she was claiming that there was an area of the house that was clearly marked and signed as to not go into this part of the house, and all the other children and adults obeyed that rule. This one child chose to go into that area, hence getting mauled by the monkey. I don't think it's a good look to be blaming this on the child, but at least trying to share all sides of the story. Pole Assassin indicating that perhaps this was a child gone rogue. Is this, here's the funny question, Mike, or not funny, is this a fireable offense? Will or should this Texas special teams coordinator, should this person lose his job over this?
It's going to depend on how the special teams have been playing, I guess. If they haven't been good, this will be an excuse to fire the guy.
Yeah.
But if they have been good, then he probably won't get fired. But going back to the haunted house, you're saying there was clear signs. So what? She probably had caution tape in front of the door, or saying "Do not enter" signs. And no, it's a haunted house. All the doors probably say that.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows what kind of clear signage she had?
I saw a picture of
I'm
it.
not buying it.
Luckily, Pole Assassin is trending on Twitter, so it's easy to find. I saw the
Caution, wild monkey.
something like that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Pole Assassin is a good name for a stripper, though. Yes.
I mean, it's right up there with Boner Garage. I mean, it says do not enter, emotional support. How is that word? Maybe it's in Spanish. I can't really tell. It says do not enter, emotional support. Something.
So she expected the kid. How old is this kid? 5, 6, 7?
I think I read someplace in the 11 to 13 range.
Oh, is that old?
Yeah.
I was going to say, you expected them to read, but also read in a different language? I don't know, man. But if you have wild animals in your house, don't just bring the whole neighborhood in to tour the house. Mm-hmm. And what I imagine are very dark rooms to make this a haunted house. And the monkey could have easily escaped that room, I'm sure, and gotten into the rest of the house too. So
I think this is outside, if I'm reading this correctly.
Even worse.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm retweeting the picture to you as well, so you'll have the ability to take a look at Pole Assassin in the area that is indicated. But there's a monkey. It says
no touching.
Is that what it says?
Emotional support, no touching.
Is that touching? Is there the monkey also is part of her act? Which I gotta wonder, Mike. How do you think that plays with the audience who came to see something specific and gets a monkey on the stage?
I mean, there are shows out there. I've never been to one where there are horses involved.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Where's this Pole Assassin? She's located in Texas. That's very close to the Mexican border. I imagine there's some weird things that go on. Who knows? I've never been to a monkey show. I've never been to a horse show. I don't know, but I can use my imagination. It's part of the act. Mm-hmm. You probably wear some kind of top hat, I imagine, during the performances.
Right.
A tuxedo of some sort. I don't know. But Pole Assassin, you think this is good for her career? People are going to go want to see the Pole Assassin dances now.
I think she may be retired.
Not anymore.
I think she may be retired. And I wonder, do you think that was a self-given nickname, or do you think somebody gave that to her? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's the kind of name that you want someone to give to you, right? Like after just a wonderful performance, someone's like, "Man, you're like a pole assassin," and that's how it became a name versus like a self-proclaimed title. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, that's definitely given it to her. I don't think she was being called onto stage. Pole assassin to the stage. Normally, it's some other kind of exotic name. Mm-hmm. You know that is not a nickname. I don't know. That's her. That's her alias, I guess. That's her stage name. I don't know.
Well,
does she always go by Pole Assassin? What's the monkey's name?
Unknown. I don't know that I know the monkey's name. We'll get on that though. An important story we have to get to the bottom of. Stay tuned to the Suns UCF. Mike will be all over this story. If there's further updates, you can be sure that they will come your way, and Mike will keep you updated. Mike, mine's very much less funny. The cow of the week here. I'm going to go with a guy we mentioned earlier, Butch Davis. Mike, Butch Davis. For those who don't know, he is the head football coach at FIU, and they had a game this past weekend up playing Marshall. Mike, Marshall is in Huntington, West Virginia. I think you've been to Marshall. No, do I have that wrong in my head?
No, I've never been to Marshall. I've been to Virginia Tech.
Gotcha. Okay.
I didn't go there.
From what I can understand about Huntington, West Virginia, it is not easy to get to. It is not one of those like direct flight situations. I think there's a couple of flights, some drives, all kinds of good stuff that will require you to get to Huntington, West Virginia. And a good friend of our shows, Mike, he was on our live show one time. A guy named Eric Henry, UCF alum. He covers FIU for Underdog Dynasty. For reasons known only to Eric Henry and Underdog Dynasty, they sent Eric to Huntington, West Virginia to cover the FIU Marshall game. FIU did not play well. They lost that game, Mike. Their season seems to be going in a spiral out of control. Guys leaving the team. To your point, they're kind of finding themselves boxed out of a conference with everybody leaving. Things are looking bleak for our good friends at FIU. Eric Henry goes to the post-game press conference, which, as I understand it, he was the only media member there to speak to Butch Davis. Nobody else made the trek to Huntington. Nobody from the Miami Herald. Nobody from the Sun Sentinel. No podcast type thing. Nobody showed up to the media availability after the game, except for one Eric Henry, who had flown all the way up there to Huntington, West Virginia. And Butch Davis says, "I'm not going to talk today, Eric. I'll talk to you on Tuesday." Leaves without talking to Eric and leaves without getting any comments, thus forcing Eric to schlep it all the way back to, I believe, South Florida and wait opportunity to talk to Butch Davis. Looking at Eric's Twitter, I don't see that happened today. It may have, I'm not sure. But Butch Davis, cow of the week, one guy is dedicated to covering your team, gets his ass all the way to Huntington, West Virginia, and watches the entire thing, comes down for a couple of pithy quotes that probably aren't going to say much anyway, and Butch Davis has no time for him. Butch Davis becomes my cow of the week, Mike.
Yeah, that's pretty weak. Butch. I don't think Eric was going to attack him.
No.
Asked some fair questions about the game and gotten out of there, got his quotes, got his story done, and moved on with his business. But to not answer the questions for whatever reasons, because the season's not going the way you planned, not a good look. I've seen coaches, I think Dan Mullen canceled media availability for his offensive and defensive coordinators after this past week. This is starting to become a trend now. And even when we were in the middle of our losing streak, we kind of lost touch with T-Will for a little bit, right?
Yep.
All of a sudden we're winning and we can hear from everybody again. I feel bad for the guys that go to these press conferences, guys like Trace that go to all of these things. And, I know sometimes they don't want to be there and sometimes the coaches don't want to be there, but they have a responsibility. That's the way of communicating with their fans. Guys like us and the guys like that listen to this show, they love watching those press conferences and getting any kind of information they can, even though a lot of times they don't give you any information. It's just a nice way to keep in touch with the team, see what the coach is talk about the injury updates and things like that. So for him to just skip out on Eric, that kind of sucks.
And I believe I was reading Eric's timeline, and making matters worse, I assume it's his hotel room in Huntington, he checked in and he was in the middle of his night's sleep, and they made some sort of an error and gave his room to somebody else. So while he was sleeping, somebody else entered into his room thinking it was that person's room, and obviously a mix-up was in tow there, and that was figured out. I'm like, nothing's got to be worse than laying in bed and somebody else walks in your hotel room.
Yeah, that is not good. That would not be fun. Wow.
That's got to be.
Maybe he thought for a second it was Butch coming to do the interview.
This is before, so I don't know. Maybe it was Butch, and he's mad at him because he got Butch's room or something. I don't know, but all in all, it sounds like a really rough trip for Eric. He's a really good guy. He's a good follow on Twitter. I think it's at Eric C. Henry. He's been on the live show once before. He's a UCF guy. So Eric, you're doing the Lord's work, my friend. And unfortunately, Butch. But not available. Hopefully you'll get a chance to catch up with him soon, Mike. But maybe we'll catch up with Eric soon on one of our live shows, which, again, this Thursday, me, you, and Trace are going to be back at it on the internet, 8 p.m., Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. And we'll probably have a Tulane guy on. I don't know if Nick Patty will be laying around. You never know what Trace will unearth as we go on the live show, Mike. So make sure you guys all tune in for that Thursday night. It's always a lot of fun. We appreciate hearing your comments and getting a chance to interact with you guys overall. But appreciate your support on this particular show. Thanks for listening. I know it's been a little long for our one listener friend, so appreciate you listening in for the entirety of this thing. It's always a fun time, Mike, to talk after a win.
Yeah, when you go into top 5 greetings, days of the weeks, and nuts, the show can picks on an extra 20 minutes that maybe things like guys like that guy didn't appreciate. But whatever, it's our show. We're going to do whatever we want and talk about whatever we want. Right? We still talk a lot of UCF football. We still did all the regular stuff. So enjoy it. Fast forward past it. I don't care what you do. This is our show, and we'll talk about whatever we want.
No finer way than to leave you all on this one. Episode 154 in the books. Everybody have a fantastic week, and make sure to check us out on Thursday. Until then, everybody, go Knights.
Charge on.